All right. Need to verify this is working before we get silly. That's just sort of how this has to happen. YouTube, please. Come on, I believe in you. I believe in you. All right. I think this is working. Cool. Yo, 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 it's your boy. We're gonna be doing a little thing with my beautiful content history. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a I guess you can call it a reaction stream, giving stuff. I want to be talking about my older videos under this name, win9x. This is all of them. This includes like the first win9x video that's unlisted right now, and every other one. And I'm gonna upload all of them separately when the video is done. It's gonna be a good time. So yeah. What we're doing tonight is what I just said. I'm not a particularly good streamer, I'll say that much, but we're just gonna chillax. It's Friday night. I got nothing better to do. Just I'm gonna hang out and we'll see what happens. So I need to set up my other monitor. Like I said, I don't stream very often because I'm really bad at it. There will probably be a weird. It'll work out. So for context, I'm going to be putting some guidelines down in that I'm only going to be rewatching mainline videos on here. This includes these, does not include this, or any other archived like live stream or let's play. And I will not be watching this because these are old videos. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, basically anything that's not an hour long is what's on the table. Oh, and everything up to end of an era 3DS. So last video we'll be watching mainline is I don't know. I mean, I might actually talk about end of an era 3DS anyway because I do have a lot of things I want to say about that from production and just to sort of sell that series a little bit more. So I guess let's begin with the video that's not currently listed right now, which is technically the first one that was called win9x. That would be top 10 worst Mario games. Top 5 worst Mario games. Which generally is a really bad list. Starting off with this video right here. Oh god, I'm really blue. Hold on. I think that's good. Yeah. Okay. So starting off with top 5 worst Mario games. This was the first video I released under win9x in August 2019. And this video is, what do you mean the bitrate is low? Fuck you. The bitrate is perfectly fine. No one cares. No one will ever care. You're a loser baby. How about that? So this video was created in 2019 in a day. It's a very rushed script, very rushed video, and I believe out of every game on this list, I disagree with just about all of them. There are a couple on there that I'll fight to the bitter end on, but there are a few on this list that are just not good. So
I hate this.
I hate this. This is before I hit puberty. Oh god.
Hey, it's been a hot minute since I decided to get off my butt and create content, but I've gotten a stroke of inspiration.
This was the last video I think I ever created in Camtasia Studio 9. The other problem with this video is that it is really bad and quiet. All of my videos are quiet. And I'm gonna actually see if there is a way I can just like really quickly. Yeah, that would be why.
And I've decided that I should actually
Better.
Today, we're gonna be doing another one of my great top 5 lists that I know you like because they get so many views.
So this entire video was created as a way for me to pilot relaunch my YouTube channel after Whipped Cream Gamer crashed and burned in 2018. And I created this video in my old room as just a test. And unfortunately, this video really didn't work out because it's a really bad list. I have really bad opinions, and it's a really poorly edited video.
Out of like the so many views that I get from my content that takes.
Was I improving this? I think I might have been improving
this. I
this.
swear this video's effort, okay? I swear. Anyway,
I swear.
Today we're gonna be counting down a really overdone list. Top 5 worst Mario games. Yes,
the song
I am aware
jams.
that I am a older person, and I am aware that this.
I think I was like 13 when I made this video. Yeah, like 13 years old at this point.
This is an overdone list. I don't care. This is gonna be a little different. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I'm only gonna be looking at games that I've personally played. So I've never played the bad ones, the infamously bad ones. I've never played those.
Like what? That's my biggest issue with this video is I don't elaborate. I don't speak the words that I need to speak. I just like don't say things that need to be said. I'm like, I've never played, the bad game. Like, what are the bad games? You need to elaborate on what the bad games are, and you're not.
Only gonna be counting down games I've played, and there's gonna be some options you're gonna hate me. Alright, you're gonna hate me for like at least one of the options. I know I'm going to rile up some hate. I don't care.
It's Mario 3D World. I'm telling you right now that number 5 is Mario 3D World. Or no, it's number 4 actually. We'll get to there.
It's an opinion. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Don't
Oh yeah, this video got Kappa. I forgot this video got a Kappa hit. Or is that just because it's unlisted? I don't remember if unlisted videos keep their comments. But yeah, this video got hit with Kappa because I'm blatantly underage in the video. Oops, I think I was like just turning 13. I don't remember.
Destroy me because my opinion's different, okay? Are we cool? I think we're
No,
cool.
we're not cool. Go to hell.
And I'm just gonna add this rule. Any Mario game is fair game. If it's a spin-off, Donkey Kong game, entertainment, something, whatever.
Justifying your
if
list.
It's a Mario game, I've played it, it's viable for the list. I've already gone over the opinion part, so let's just get this all out of the way. Let's begin.
Let's begin. Windows 98 startup noise.
New Super Mario Bros. 2.
Legitimate. This game isn't very good. I'll agree with this. I'll give myself props for this. I agree. This game was really underwhelming. And I didn't like it that much.
I don't like this game too much. Surprisingly, this
See?
is the only new Super Mario Bros. Game on the list. And if I'll be honest, I've enjoyed pretty much every single game in the series.
I'm a
heathen, but
I agree with this. I've never really hated a game in this series. The DS game is definitely the best one. The Wii one is fun with friends. This game has its merits, but it's not good. And then honestly, if I were to remake this list, I think I would give you the worst of the series, because at the very least, this game has sort of unique stuff. U is just the exact same game as Wii.
I don't think these games are that bad. I feel like people are kind of making them seem worse than they are. Unfortunately, they can't make this one seem any worse.
I will say right now that I'm super excited for Mario Wonder, because they're actually doing something new with 2D Mario, which is something that very much was needed after this game was not good for like forever.
And well, I guess I should just go over a little history here. And really, really, really not very good history at that.
This video is scripted.
Like, seriously, it had a ton of potential. Here's why. This game was marketed on one single thing. There's so many coins, try to get them all. And if I'll be honest, I was suckered directly into that when I was
you weren't.
Younger me.
I didn't want to say, I was so afraid to like announce my age. Oh, this is a good video.
It was gonna be like totally rad and all super cool, awesome sauce, and it absolutely wasn't. This is the only time I'm gonna make this point.
I'm actually gonna quickly comment on this.
And it absolutely.
I wanted to do a black and white filter, and in Camtasia, since it's a piece of software designed in like 2007, you can't do black and white filters without I think you need external software. So to do it here, I just blasted it with a brightness filter until it worked.
It wasn't. This is the only time I'm gonna make this point. The game's plot was super rudimentary, but it's a Mario
Rudimentary.
game. Respect. Obviously, the plot is, oh no, Peach has been captured, save her. Isn't that such a great plot?
Are you complaining?
But, of course, you might remember how this game was marketed with a ton of coins, right? They have, like, no use. Literally, all they do is be a counter on the home screen. There's no store, item shop, or anything to use them in. It's just not my favorite.
These are all valid arguments.
Let's be honest, they could have implemented a ton of uses for them. They decided that, you know, they should be used as useful as any other Mario game, which means they have no use. Did they mention this game has paid DLC for some stupid reason?
Yeah, it is really funny that this game got paid DLC for the Coin Rush mode. And I think it is absolutely not the only New Super game to get DLC because, you know, New Super Luigi U.
Go to the eShop right now, you'll be able to get DLC for...
Go to the eShop right now, guys. See how far you get. Ooh, 2019. They were still selling this thing.
That's really not needed. It's just some new Coin Rush modes. It's not the best.
Look at him pissing on the coins.
You totally like made them like coin unlocks. Like these are not things you want to pay $5.99 to play like 4 new coin collecting stages. It's just
I don't think anybody bought them anyway.
Because money, man. Gotta get that money.
Gotta get that money.
This is probably the worst New Super Mario game they've made.
Nah, that's New Super Mario Bros. U. Which ones haven't I played? I've played all of them at that point. It's like, at least out of the ones I've played. I had played all of them at that point. I think I hadn't finished Luigi. And I still haven't, but I mean that's a DLC campaign, that's not a full game. Alright, this is the one that like gets me mad. This pick is horrific.
Super Mario.
Oh, you couldn't even see the joke. God damn it. So I hate this pick. Having gone back and replayed New Super Mario 3D World when it came out on Switch. That game is this game is absolutely one of the greatest Mario games of all time. I think that as a kid, it was because I hadn't played it in years. I didn't have friends to play it with at the time. I was like, oh, this game is just so bad. You know, it has no like fun replayability. It has nothing. When this game is objectively really good and one of the greatest designed Mario platformers of all time. I think that this game is objectively really good. I'm not quite sure why this game is on this list, actually. I think it's a really bad decision. Also, for any Wii U footage, I forgot to scale it up to fill the screen for some reason. I knew how to do that.
You get a lot of hate for this one, but
yeah, you are.
Don't get me wrong, this is a good Mario game, and in general, it's a quality game.
It's a quality game, and it's a good Mario game. That's why it's on the top 5 worst Mario games. Catch the logic.
Most games on this list are quality anyways, save for a few.
No.
But I feel like this game is a bit more of a critical eye. My main gripe here is the game's controls.
The game's controls are perfect. Look, if it wasn't designed around the 8-way movement, then yes, this would be a valid complaint. The game was designed around the movement, and it feels so much more tight than 3D Land, because the levels feel like they're designed for less extreme movement. Like 3D Land, I feel like I'm slip-sliding off platforms on accident, when in this game...
The level design suffer for the most part. This game is a sequel of sorts to 3D Land on the 3DS.
Sorts, it's a sequel.
The 8 directions.
What the hell is that?
This game is a sequel of sorts to 3D Land on the 3DS. Yeah.
I think I've been watching Scott the Woz at this point, and I was trying to capture that like cut to video, cut to footage thing, which I still kind of do, but...
The 8 directions of movement worked there because the game was built for the 3DS and made really good use of the 3DS mechanics early on.
The 3DS game has more movement degrees too, which is the funny part.
3D World feels like it could be a 3DS game. And I know you're probably thinking, well, it's a direct sequel to a 3DS game. Of course it feels like one. And of course, that is a good point, but this is the Wii U we're talking about. They could have totally implemented analog controls and made...
One of my favorite parts about this video is that I forgot to, like, clean up my laundry. I forgot to clean up my laundry, and I have an Avengers blanket while trying to act like a cool, mature game reviewer. And I mean, I guess I have a Rush poster in the back, so I have never matured past this point, but the Avengers blanket... At least it's not the shark blanket. Which doesn't appear in a video, I don't think.
This game's levels feel like bigger versions of 3D Land levels, and that's just the controls and level design. This game's lighting is wacky. You know the lighting.
I'm iffy on this point, because there's like 2 levels where I think the lighting does actually have a significantly weird look to it. 2 levels, though.
The game is messed up when it feels like a castle has the same lighting as a grassy field.
Was that a cool cut? Oh my god.
Feel thrown in with no real thought. Like in this level. Why do I need to tap on the gamepad here?
I'll agree that the gamepad mechanics for levels were not very well thought out. And I will say I do prefer playing this game on the Switch to the Wii U. Or no, on the Wii U to the Switch, because on the Switch you have to like hit the L button and motion control pointer, and it works, but it doesn't feel like it's great. But levels like this could have been left out. I think that they work and they are optional, I believe. I don't think you are required to touch the gamepad once to finish the game. Don't quote me on that.
There's only one point in the game where I feel like these mechanics work in this game. It's the Captain Toad levels. And
I agree, the Captain Toad levels are fantastic.
you wanna know why? Get this. They're built around the mechanics.
So is the rest of the game. So is the rest of the game. You can't say that this game isn't built around mechanics when the game was objectively designed around the mechanics, and if you were good enough at video games to get past the first world, you'd have learned that yes, this game is designed around the controls and mechanics and limitations that it was built around, and you're complaining about nothing. Thank you, Ian Boswell.
Mechanics only work when the levels are made to use them.
I don't know who Ian Boswell was, but it's who I stole my footage from, because my capture card didn't work.
Work with it really nice.
Where's the Captain Toad footage?
I still think 3D World is a fun Mario game. It's really fun to play with friends and everything. But I feel like its issues outweigh its strengths. And in reality, as much as I do enjoy this game, I don't think it deserves as much of a critical praise as it gets. Although I do think it's a good Mario game.
So then get it off the worst Mario games of all time list. You can't say it's a good game and have it on this list. They need to be objectively bad, is all I'm going to say. What I'm also going to say is that this game is amazing, and you should go out and play it on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Wii U, or maybe the computer. I don't know. Maybe you're a risky little boy and play games on your computer that you aren't supposed to. Ooh.
Odyssey is still better though.
Okay, buddy, we're gonna have to kill you for that one. No, Odyssey is great, but that's funny to me. It was 2019. I'd beaten the game at that point, I think.
Donkey Kong Jr.
Hey, look, it's a terrible game, and I don't think you can redeem this game, in my opinion. I hate it.
You consider this game a Mario game or a Donkey Kong game? I'll be honest.
Can you speak in, like, a slightly more clear way? I could not understand a fucking word.
Donkey Kong Jr. You consider this game a Mario...
I guess it's a game of Mario game, a Donkey Kong game. Like, I was, like, slurring words. What was that?
Game or Donkey Kong game. I'll be honest, I'm just gonna consider it a Mario game because just for the sake of the list and my sanity.
And your sanity.
Donkey Kong Jr. is the problem.
I'm gonna consider it a Mario game for the sake of my sake of the list and my sanity. Oh wait, I don't have any. Pretty okay joke.
Child of the classic DK arcade trilogy. You're gonna hear me complain about this again at another part of the list.
I'm trying to hide the fact that I think Donkey Kong 3 is on my list. Don't quote me on that.
This game's physics are wacky, man. I understand that this game is a
yes,
arcade game, and it's gonna have to be clunky to some extent, but this is no good excuse. The original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong 3 are games I find fun to go back to, because their gameplay doesn't make me want to die in real life.
Donkey Kong 3 is not a good video game. Had I played it at this? I think I played it right before this video. In fact, I'm gonna wait till the end of the video for that one.
Issue is, Donkey Kong Jr. does make me want to do that. The vine climbing mechanics are decent enough, but in reality, I just get PTSD every time I go for a jump in this game, man.
I will not disagree in the fact that this game's platforming is wacky. I'm gonna resize the webcam and move it such that you can actually see the video. I'm very sorry about that.
It feels like if I fall from the smallest of heights, I'm dead. Yes, I know. This game was in... Yes, I know. The dive from a long height...
You can, like, cut audio. It's a thing you can do.
It was in the original.
I need to do more... Oh, what's good? Yeah, I agree that, that's probably my biggest, like, passion, and it is definitely the highest growing video I've ever made, but I don't have anything else to add on the 3DS. I thought I did a really good job covering the system beginning to end, and I like changing things up. So, and I'm not even in this for, like, it was killing, and it was a really good video. We're gonna talk about that at the end. I just don't really see a point in going back to anything. Like, I don't like reviewing specific games anymore. I used to do that all the time, but right now I like that video as a standalone video. 3DS stuff is still fun. I think there is some other things I can mention Nintendo related, like handhelds wise, but 3DS I think I've got down and covered.
But that game had orange physics, so it made sense. The game is floaty and slippery, and it just doesn't even deserve more. This is the second worst classic arcade game Nintendo made, in my opinion.
And that's because the number one is the number one on the list. Yeah, I don't know. I agree that, like, the 3DS video was great, but I like that format adapted to other things. It's about as simple as that.
Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
Correct
And
answer.
I'll get flamed for not liking. Out of all of the Mario sports
I was ahead of the curve on hating this game. I mean, everybody hated this game when it came out, but, like, it's trendy to hate this game now, and I'm glad that I was ahead of the curve.
games, I think this one's the worst. This game is just boring, man. I'd
So
rather
boring.
play any other tennis game because I'll actually have fun playing it. It probably will.
There are so many worse tennis games in this, but, like, this game is really bad. And, like, even when I was I got this game when I was still like everything Nintendo is cool, but when I knew when I played this, like, this game is not very good at all, and that's pretty real.
Decent mechanics that don't rely on you having a 75 win streak in Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune at the same time to pull off, and it probably won't bore me to death either. Let's be honest.
Wait, was I complaining about this game's controls being complicated?
Because I'll actually have playing it. It probably will have decent mechanics that don't rely on you having a 75 win streak in Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune at the same time to pull off.
I think I was complaining about the controls being hard to make. This game has, like, 3 buttons.
And it probably won't bore me to death either, let's be honest. This game is boring, not as
Yes, it is.
pleasing, and is not worthy of the Mario Tennis game. It just feels like a generic tennis game with Mario characters slapped onto it.
Is that everything I had to say on that? I mean, there isn't much to say about that game, but I'm shocked I only had, like, 30 seconds for that. Alright, number 1. I remember distinctly what this is, and I'm going to fight it to the death, because I agree. Fuck Mario Bros. This game is really, really bad. The only redeeming thing this game did was getting remade for the GBA Mario Advance series, and that's fun. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the original Mario Bros. Hate this game. Why did I that's the other problem I have with this video, is my inconsistent video editing. Or it almost felt like I wanted to try, but at the same time I didn't. Like, you go back to Donkey Kong Jr., and it's an NES game, but it's scaled to the proper, like, it kind of fills the screen. And then you go back to Mario Bros, and now we're back into the photo, like, stamped, I don't remember the name of the term, but it's not full screen. Letterbox.
It just feels like you're playing the same stage over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
It's an arcade game. Yeah, I won't agree with that point of logic, because it's an arcade game, and arcade games are repetitive by design. But, you know what?
Now you might say, but this game introduced Luigi, and they gave Mario and Luigi their iconic jobs.
I'll get ready for this, like, utterly absurd take.
Avoided of criticism? No. Counterpoint. What part of plumbing involves bouncy platforms, turtles, crabs, and blue earthquake box? Tell me that. I want to know. Like, does that really matter? Not only that, but out of all the kids playing this game when it came out in the arcades in 1983, how many do you think, oh man, I sure do love that Luigi guy. He's such a creative addition.
Holy
shit. Good money, not a lot. How many people do you think even knew his name in 1983? Luigi was implemented because they need a second player character. He wasn't made in this original game as, you know, a character to be played as, and he wasn't made as a character to be fleshed out. He'd become more fleshed out later, of course. But when he debuted, he was just that green Mario guy.
Alright, I agree with a couple of things. But, like, Luigi's cool. In this game, he was a player 2 character. But this was one of, like, the few arcade games in '83 that had simultaneous multiplayer, where you weren't just taking turns after someone died. So it's really funny to me that I'm just really mad. I don't, in response to the last thing, Bortus says, are you sure you could do, say, 5 more, yada yada? You could make a basic income from uploading more videos as long as you really invest in it. I don't do YouTube for money. This is a hobby, and it always will be, because I don't like the commitment of having to upload to... My channel is a personal project more than anything. I'm sure many more viewers of that video are waiting for more. I mean, look, I don't disagree that that video is very that video got extremely popular overnight. And I think that there's absolutely no way I'm not about to do more Nintendo themed videos just because I'm a giant Nintendo fanboy. I mean, I've got a Splatoon poster in the back right there. But in terms of the 3DS, I've covered everything that I think I need to cover on that platform. I couldn't put 5 more videos out without fluffing it out to hell and back. Like I said, I'm not going to rule out another end of an era video focused on a Nintendo platform or like a Nintendo thing, but I make videos that I want to make when I want to make them, and I don't care about the profitability or the success. I just like making this kind of thing and putting it out for the people who want to watch it, you know? Like, I point to my Tycho video that I made a couple years ago as a big example of that. That video isn't particularly huge. It has a lot of views, but it kind of hit that niche of Tycho fans, and that's what I like. I like making videos that are like entry points and like kind of just stuff that I'm really interested at the time getting put into a video. I don't like making videos for profit more than anything, and I know that if I wanted to, I could make a bunch of 3DS videos, and I probably would reach like a decent, few bucks a video or something, But no, I'm sorry, I don't like doing that. I like making content that I want to make, and I think if I were to try to force it, it wouldn't be as authentic as that video. I don't disagree that Nintendo videos are popular, and I'm definitely going to make more. It's just 3DS in specific, I think I've covered everything I need to cover.
Oh, what a nice looking mob outside.
Yeah, I was definitely watching Scott the Woz at this point, because I'm pretty sure that's a straight up Stop the Woz rip.
Mario. He'd become more fleshed out later, of course. But when he debuted, he was just that green Mario guy.
No hate towards Scott the Woz. Half of End of an Era is inspired by Scott level humor and video essay work, although it's also just my type of video.
Oh, what a nice looking mob outside. And that's the list. If you disagree, that's nice, as the opinions still seem to exist in your time.
Oh my god, it is just a Scott the Woz video script here.
Let's go over some fun meta channel stuff.
So, I'm not going to watch the meta channel stuff because it doesn't apply. This video I created in a afternoon and during summer, because this video actually is I should have done this today, this because this would have been 4 years, 5, maybe, no, 4. 4 years of the name, because around this time is when I started working on Initial D games, which we'll get to next. But this video is very rushed. I was talking with a friend in real life, and I was like, ooh, this is actually kind of a cool idea. I want to make this into a video. And I think all of the games on this list are games that we decided on. There's a non-zero chance that that friend is going to watch this video, so hi, Jack. But yeah, this video was a very quick rush job. And I think it shows with the botched editing, kind of sloppy script. I don't hate it, because there's nothing to hate about the video other than the fact that I don't like 3D World in it. But aside from that, the video is fine. Like, I don't think this video is that bad. I think it's objectively pretty inoffensive. But I definitely improve a lot over a year. And about a year and change later, we hit... technically, I should be watching these. But these are gag videos that aren't particularly... I expect your thought, but just know you are talented enough I appreciate it, yeah. Unfortunately, YouTube as an industry sucks, so I don't want to be an industry slave. But I appreciate the... yeah, thank you, man. If for some reason if I change my mind, you expect, End of an Era 2, 3DS or something. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I won't deny I'm probably leaving a lot of clout on the table, but like I said, it's not really my thing. But yeah. Back on topic of the stream, though. Morgana is fucking dead. There is no game speedrun. Gone wrong. Gone sexual. Cops called. And Haru Snaps are gag videos that I made to learn Premiere in 2020. So they're not viable. And reacting to more of the worst videos on my channel is a just hour-long reaction video, which is actually pretty good. I rewatched it a little bit ago. But this is the big one. This is what set my channel up as it is right now. Initial D games on home consoles established the type of video I'd make up until like End of an Era kind of changed that, which is a overview of a specific topic cut in a specific way. This video set up the kind of style that I still use to an extent. This video is like basically, different segments of the video focusing on a specific topic with me reading a script and gameplay. It's a very generic video essay kind of setup, and this is before I wanted to appear on camera. But this video took off about like a year after I made it, and it's the most viewed video on the channel right now. It and End of an Era 3DS have been deadlocked for most viewed channels since that video popped off when it came out. So yeah, this video is particularly popular. And I want to make, I've had a video idea that kind of follows up with this one, talking about the differences between the manga and anime for Initial D. But I can't make it, and that's because Avex is terrible. But this video really went crazy. I have a lot to say about it, because this was a passion project that actually paid off, and it made me want to keep doing it. Which is why we have a lot of shit to talk about tonight. So a thing I mentioned at the end of this video in this giant text wall is originally I had the Initial D first opening and as the intro music and visual to this song, this video, and I couldn't do that because it was blocked worldwide. So yeah, thanks Avex.
The manga series Initial D is a titan in the cars driving down mountain passes while also defying the laws of suspension genre. With the first volumes released in 1995, it grew in popularity and skyrocketed with the anime airing in 1998. The point I'm trying to make here is that the series was incredibly successful in Japan and across the world, and when a series is successful, what do? You make video games, of course. And that's exactly what Sega did in the arcades with the Initial D arcade stage series. The initial concept was going to be that I would make a sequel to this video talking about the arcade games, but a lot of them are the exact same thing. They're a very derivative franchise, and while I think I could make an interesting video about them, it would require, like someone who actually has played them in arcades, because I've only ever played them at home with a controller. Games that are still getting entries to this day. Correct. But outside of those games... There was a Wangan Midnight crossover in the latest one, which is a shame, because I really didn't like Wangan Midnight, but it was cool. Ports and original games released for home and handheld consoles, and let's take a look at them and see if they're a clean drive to success or a crash and burn on the third hairpin. See, I made funny references to the content I was talking about. I'm really proud of this video. I'll never not be proud of this video. I will be very disappointed in my music choices, because I didn't research them, and a lot of them are Pony Beat, which is not my thing. All of these were taken from a YouTube video talking about, it was a free Eurobeat YouTube video. I didn't research any of it. Most of it is Toho Eurobeat, which is pretty chill. And then one song is My Little Pony Eurobeat, and I'm not a fan of that. But it was a good song at the time. It's just the funniest thing. I had to use Eurobeat in the video, though. I knew for a fact that that was like an indescribable... I had to do it. So I didn't. Let's start with the arcade ports. The first game to make the jump was Initial D Arcade Stage 2, which came to the PlayStation 2 in 2003 as Initial D Special Stage. The issue with a lot of these videos going forward is I'm not going to have a lot to say that's critical, because a lot of these videos I'm proud of. Near the, middle point of the channel is when I will start to say I should have done things better. This video is pretty good still, though. It holds up. Story paths following either Takumi Fujiwara, the racing team, the Red Suns, and the combination team, Project D, as they do their thing and drive really, really, really fast. This port had downgraded graphics compared to the arcade original, but is actually a pretty decent way to experience Arcade Stage 2. I agree. The PS2 game's pretty solid. Next up on the chopping block is Initial D Street Stage. I should have talked about Street Stage more, because it's a lot more notable than I kind of wrote it off as. A PlayStation portable game based off of Arcade Stage 3. It's a very close port content-wise with a few cut tracks, namely the snow variant of Akina Pass. But aside for some pretty heavy graphical downgrades, I mean, it was the PSP, what were you gonna do? I don't think the game had that heavy of graphical downgrades compared to the game that just came before it. Like, the shadows are a little bit worse and the resolution is low, but... It's a pretty decent port of the game. And finally, we have Extreme Stage, PlayStation 3 version of Arcade Stage. Extreme Stage is hot. It featured online play, and since it was on the PlayStation 3, looks near identical to Arcade Stage 4 graphically. It pretty much is the same as that game. It's worth mentioning the game's actually not region-locked and can be imported for around $50 on eBay. You can also import Street Stage. The PSP has no region lock as far as I'm aware. I'll point out which one was Pony Beat.
I think it was either... No, this one is the one that's, like, weirdly rapey with its lyrics, and I really regret using it.
Oh, this isn't a joke. Initial
D Gaiden was actually the first game that released for the franchise, I want to say. Unless it was either this, Saturn, or PS... ideally, I'm gonna go for as long as I can. Yeah, I want to see how many of them I can get through. My goal is to get to the end of Weird Ports Saga. But, if I can't do that, then, we'll split it into 2 parts.
It was called Initial D Gaiden, and it was actually the first game based off of the manga/anime. It released in 1998 and followed 4 characters. Itsuki, the worst character, Takumi, the main protagonist, Mogi, the love interest, and Bunta, the father.
Her name is Natsuki, but okay, dude.
And it's actually not that bad. The game plays pretty well and actually handles better than some of the other games on this video. It's entirely in Japanese, so I don't understand what the characters are saying, but I imagine it's just you racing people and them talking about how cars are cool. The game's biggest problem is its audioscape. Just listen to this.
Yeah, this game sounds atrocious. It's just, like... It's this.
Yeah, there's no music in the races. It's just bleeps, bloops, and related jargon. The game's actually pretty good, but I don't know if I'd really recommend playing it. It's a fine experience if you're drunk on a Friday night, I guess.
This is the part that actually really sucks about this video, is I'm using a really bad emulator to play this game, and someone points this out here, and I think this person actually has clout. Yeah, they have clout. Oops. So maybe I should start beefing with them and try to get subs. I have to watch the Ivan video. Oh god. I'm not holding back on that, but we'll get there. Yeah, this person points out that the emulator is broken, the game has music, and he says the graphics on the Saturn are really nice. I'll give him that, and I think that I am a little biased in that. I responded as soon as I saw the comics. I still respond to videos this old. I think that the PlayStation version is still kicking ass over the Saturn version. I think the Saturn version plays like shit. This video is actually edited out of order. I was supposed to talk about the PlayStation version right after this, and I don't think I do. Yeah, these two should have been back-to-back. Whoops.
And while we're on the topic of things I don't recommend you touch, Initial D on Sega Saturn. This 1998 Saturn game is actually like the worst racing game I've ever played. You can't see 5 feet in front of you, the steering is incredibly unresponsive, and the graphics are unnotable at best.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I think that this game is visually really bad. Since you're just doing this for fun, are you still trying to grow the channel, and if so, with what kind of content? As stated prior, channel growth isn't my biggest concern. Right now, my main video theme, I'm doing a lot of End of an Era, is my big, that's my big focus series right now, are those types of videos, with side stuff sprinkled in. I just sort of make what I want to make when I want to make it. I don't really have a set, like, idea on what my ideal content is, because, quite frankly, this entire channel has gone through so many different rebrands that I just sort of make whatever I want. And if it works out like End of an Era did, cool. If it doesn't, then back to the chopping block. I would say video essay, gaming adjacent content is the general theme of the channel, though, and it always kind of has been.
It's got a few different modes.
This game is graphically horrible.
Most notable is scenario mode. It's got a small plot with some of the more important characters from the manga, and it actually has some pretty decent looking cutscenes.
It's PS1 game.
I mean, they're just sprites being animated on a plane, but to be honest, that's fine, I guess. They're better than the racing segments, and I don't know if the Saturn emulator I was using was broken, but there's no music and the races are menus.
It was.
All you really hear are the car noises. The next few modes are pretty self-explanatory. There's a time trial mode, which sees just how bad you can do while racing on the tracks in-game, a battle mode, which lets you race another computer-controlled character, and a
this song is such a banger.
Which, I hope you get the point.
I love how below that turn, just absolute
computer-controlled character, and a drift challenge
yeah.
mode, which,
love it.
I hope you get the point of that. It's really bad. I don't touch it. Run away. If someone brings this close to you, you might contract, you'll contract bad game syndrome. It's a very fatal disease.
Certified worst line. Like, that wasn't even a line read. I was just improvising that. It's so bad. This song is so good. It's technically Toho Eurobeat, but it's good. This is the song that I regret using.
So Initial D, another stage on the Game Boy Advance, actually took me by surprise.
This game is awesome, and I hope it gets a fan translation at some point. In fact, I haven't looked. Has it gotten one yet? But it's a really cool concept, and I kind of want to play through it. Alright, let's go to the bad website. No English ROM hack. One of these days.
You assume it's a 3D racing game similar to the Saturn game and the PlayStation 1 game. But it's not. It's actually more of a visual novel style game with race sequences consisting of dialogue options.
I could do this for like 1,000+ viewers, really get the message out. Yeah, I don't care though. I mean, it's like I've said, I don't really have an aim for clout with this channel. If I get clout, that's cool. I'm just doing this for fun. It's as simple as that.
Summary of what you do for your family business. It's basically a carbon copy of what Takumi does for the tofu shop his dad runs in the actual source material. But since this is a visual novel game, you are in the shoes of the tofu delivery boy himself. The basic summary is that you're a tofu delivery boy for your family's tofu shop.
I'm gonna just say this now. After all, I don't think I have a message to give. My message is just researched content.
And you don't like driving much. The game then lets you choose your name, and you're off to work at your part-time gas station job where characters talk to you in Japanese, and you don't understand any of it because you don't know anything about the language. As far as I can tell, it was basically, cars are so cool, let's go race at Akana after work. But since I don't know much Japanese, I have no idea if this is actually accurate.
Do I use smiley face?
The game's unique race sequences begin, and they seem like they'd be really fun if you understood the language the QuickTime event choices were in. I was just choosing random options and ended up using the race in the footage you're seeing right now. I looked for an English translation, and I couldn't actually find anything. There's the final...
Yeah, it's a real shame this game has no English translation whatsoever. The way that this game works, from what I could tell, was you had to pick what to do with your car at a turn, and if you picked the right option, you'd obviously pass, and if you didn't, you'd fail. And you're basically just trying to build up a reputation, clout, if you will, in the street racing realm.
Exist, and I'll put these set files in the description, so if you know Japanese and want to actually make this...
Viewers are looking for people who really do this for fun and not for views, that's your edge. I'm aware. I just think that the antithesis of that is to go around and say, hey, this video did really good, so I'm going to pump out more based off of it, even if I don't want to. That's just my view on it.
It's actually a really fun game if you understand what it's saying. I would love to try it at some point.
Agreed. I think next is... I got shit for that. By one person. Shoutouts to Jake's Cartoons.
And in a complete turn of events, the PlayStation 1 version of Initial D is
Dr. Pepper down.
Game. It opens with an awesome and radical 90s CGI cutscene with some subpar music that isn't anywhere close to the Eurobeat bops the anime popularized, but it does get the general atmosphere across, and I actually kind of like it. The game has a similar selection of modes to Saturn, and there's a story mode, and it takes you through some of the general events of the manga, and it has some of the worst character CGI I think I've ever seen. Takumi genuinely...
I don't know where this screenshot is from. I've scoured the anime. It's one of the popular pictures from the show, and I kind of wish I had picked a different shot, but I couldn't find one that wasn't just objectively hideous.
Looks nothing like his anime or manga appearances, and Itsuki gives me nightmares.
God, this game is so ugly with the CGI cutscenes.
But the saving grace of Initial D on PS1 is definitely not the CGI cutscenes. It's actually got some of the best racing gameplay in the
I picked some
list
good
here.
songs here.
It's got 3 camera angles, a wide-out chase shot, a close chase, and a hood view. All of these are surprisingly playable, and the game in general has much better draw distance, handling, and lighting. I was able to pull off quite a few more drifts when compared to the Saturn version, and it's just such a better game. The big problem
smashes
is the
into
game has a
guardrail.
lacking music selection. It feels
I
like
agree.
they're looping the same track a lot of the time, and you can tell when it loops.
I agree.
But it is a PlayStation 1 game.
That one
so
video really looked like you had fun making it. Why not find more themes to relive that experience? I did. End of an Era Guitar Hero. Which I don't think I'm looking as fun on that video because I objectively really screwed up the camera segments, but that video was fun to make as well. I make videos on, yeah, I did. Basically is what I'm saying is I've found more themes, and that's what I do, is if I find a theme that fits any kind of content, I do it. This video is basically, this channel is basically just an archive of my hyperfixations at any point in time.
There's a free running mode, which is your time trial, and, you know, you choose your car, choose your course, and you do the fastest
Look
lap.
at that power slide.
Practice doesn't clock your time, but outside of that, it's free running again. It's actually a really great game. If you can find it, I'd totally recommend playing it. It's a great time.
Hyping games.
Yeah, Initial D got 2 typing games on PC and PlayStation 2 in Japan.
Yep.
I was only able to find footage of the
weird.
first, courtesy of Reddit user LilyLola123.
Reddit.
And if you want to check out their footage, the video is linked in the description.
This game is so weird.
It's a pretty simple typing tutor. I don't know what you expected. The game
What's funny is I didn't get caught for copyright on this, despite the fact that this is actually footage from the anime. I'm thinking it's because it's, like, really not good video.
It plays a video of one of the races from the first season, and when you take on a corner, you're given words to type. There's a health bar that you need to keep mind of while typing, as if you take too long or mess up too much, you'll crash into the guardrail. Hardly any footage of this game exists, although Clint from Lazy Game Reviews got a hold of a copy and demonstrated the PC version of this game. That video will be linked in the description as well. Oh yeah, fun fact, this is like the only game on this list outside the arcade games that has Eurobeat, and I guess that's fucking neat.
I said a cuss word, guys. I'm cool.
And that's it. That's the vast majority of the Initial D games released, and while a few of them were good, others were Initial D on Sega Saturn. I really appreciate you guys sticking through the end of this video. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god, no. I forgot about...
This would have been funnier with the camera.
Initial D Mountain Vengeance!
Game is fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. It's so good. You should really consider playing it if you haven't. It's so funny. My recording for it is broken.
Where do I begin with this thing? It was a budget game made by Value.
The game is so bad. It's so funny.
Soft on PC. It was released in 2004, and it follows the Tokyo Pop variation of Initial D,
which is finally dead, by the way. Up until, like, literally a month ago, the only way to read the manga was the old Tokyo Pop edits, which renamed characters and was overall just a really bad translation. We just recently found out that Viz is finally retranslating and re-releasing the manga next year, and it's just... Thank God. The manga is objectively the worst way to experience this show. It's like Your Lie in April, where the music makes the show, but the manga is not a bad way to experience it at all, so...
The characters' names, has no Eurobeat, and I think it's probably the best of the worst racing games I've ever played. It has some of the worst controls, mechanics, and music.
I just picked up on the fact I'm using the goddamn Kevin MacLeod, what is this song called? Chickens on Mars, or whatever the shit. Monkeys Spinning Monkeys. I hate this song.
Not one song, man, but it's fucking hilarious. This game is on the same level as Big Rigs, being a horrible game in, like, every way, but it's, like, the best game to play with a solid few drinks and a couple of friends.
What drinks?
This game has such great features.
I'm still not of age.
Rubber banding AI that flings itself so far.
Yeah, the rubber banding in this game is really funny.
This game has such great features like rubber banding AI that flings itself so far ahead you'll never win. A single track of music. Skyboxes you can easily fuck with to your heart's content.
Yeah, you can literally just change the files, and I put thanks Obama and a penis in this guy because I'm really funny.
Shitty models. Did I mention that as one piece of music?
Initialize. The one track of music in this game, which is what should have been backing this, is the opening to Initial D's Western. The original translation from Tokyo Pop. They released the anime at one point as well, gutting Eurobeat, making these really bad edits, and the opening theme is really funny. I think I'm allowed to pull it up. I don't think they kill you for this. The song is great. It's so bad. So bad. I can't listen to it I can't listen to it ironically, but we haven't even hit the rap verse because it's 1998.
Start your engines, drive with a vengeance. Gasoline dreams, we're the true kings of tension. Not to mention suspense and speed. Full throttle to the next turn, drift, take the lead. Cause a night kid's always the first to push the limit. Now it's my time, red line to the finish. It's Clash of the Titans, adrenaline rush. On the streets where you can't trust something you can't touch. Light speed, you can't see it, but you know it's there. We can feel it all around us in the midnight air. Never scared cause I'm out for the title. Initialize, now we count down to the battle.
It's that for like the entire song. I mean, it's so good. Wrong video.
I mean, it supports racing wheels, and I've tried it, and it is terrible. Either way, man, this game is so fun to nitpick and laugh at, and it's a game you should go out, find a copy. It's cheap as hell. Play it. It's hilarious. I love it.
Another funny part about this game is your brake lights are always on, even if you're slamming on the gas. And that's the end of the video. So, the end of this video is a wall of text with me talking about you guys should, like, give me video ideas, because I didn't have any. And I'm talking about how I originally had visuals, but Avex cucked me. And that's the end of the video that got shit started. So, I obviously followed that up with, that 12-minute long semi-video essay with a plush review. And this is why it took me a solid 3 years to get consistent views on videos, because I jumped from topics like a narcotic rat, and I'll continue to do that, because I don't care.
JoJo, right?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Ah, yes.
Classic manga. There's a group of dudes beating up a whole...
This video has aged really well.
Vampires. People who came out of a rock.
Vampires again.
Guy with a fetish. A strawberry. That's not my
Cut funny jokes there. I'm not watching bloopers number 1, other than the fact that it is the lowest viewed video on the channel that is public right now. I want to say it is that. 32 views. Yes, I do believe that this takes the cake for the lowest viewed public video, because it's just bloopers. It's 3 minutes of bloopers. No one wants to watch that.
Popular characters this manga's ever
Not like I put effort into it. I love this. That fucking Dio picture of just Trump. I'm sorry, it's funny to me. Here's the JoJo.
Those characters are nothing. They're gusts in the wind.
Gusts in the wind.
Compared to the absolute best thing Araki has ever thought of. A magnum opus in character design. The ultimate character. Of course, I'm talking about Iggy.
You'll never believe it. But this character is the best character in part 3. Actually.
Iggy's a supporting character from the manga's third main story arc, Stardust Crusade. He's a dog with a stand, and he's fairly unremarkable.
It's bitches.
Loads of merchandise, both official and unofficial. And while browsing,
this is the best song I could have picked.
I stumbled across it.
I have to grab him. Hold on. I do still have it. I'm gonna get up shorts reveal. Never mind, I'm off camera. Great. Alright. Yes, I do still have him. I'll never forget what he did for this channel, in that he did actually jack crap, but he did things, I think.
The greatest bootleg plush ever created, one that makes no sense in the context of the character, and yet somehow is a real product that you can buy right now. This is Christmas Iggy. I bought him. Let's review him.
Mascot of the channel, by the way. I don't care what you say. I'll find a way to put him in every video I've ever made. Yeah, my song choices for this video were pretty on point.
Wish.com is a fiending ground for
I want this shirt so bad.
lots of bootleg merchandise. This plush exists for that exact reason.
I have actually lost the Christmas hat, and that's the biggest shame, because that's half the reason I bought the thing. But he showed up so bad that it's funny to keep him anyway.
It seems to be based off of this official plush from Bandai, as far as I can tell. The
Yeah.
dimensions are roughly the same. The plush itself comes in a regular shipping bag and is about 7.5 inches tall. It's not a very large plush and is fairly well suited for display. The Christmas hat is indeed removable, so he's only festive when...
I love this. I love this shitty little gag.
Well suited for display. The Christmas hat is indeed removable, so he's only festive when strictly necessary.
It's so dumb.
The plush itself is made of soft fabric all around with embroidered eyes and mouth. The nose is hard plastic. There's a visible seam on his nose, another on the top of his head, and one large one running down his back. It is not a seamless plush.
I really like how you're enjoying your previous videos, and as a channel manager, I can relate that more videos will give you even more enjoyment at looking back at all of them. Hell yeah.
Close. But if you're expecting that, get ready to be disappointed.
Yeah, it's fun to look back at what you've made years after the fact, and it's good to see that I think a lot of them still hold up. Which is good.
Incredibly from plush to plush, as can be expected with bootleg crap like this. Some come looking okay, while mine has the eyes right up against the nose halfway down his face.
Too real?
It is incredibly charming regardless.
Too real.
The plush's overall quality really does leave a bit to be desired, as it's made as cheap as humanly possible. You could probably rip the legs off with little effort if you so desired. Going off topic from the plush for a second, the tiny little Christmas hats I've thrown into the bag is just a cheap, finger-sized Christmas hat that's probably excess from the factory. He is an amazing plush, and if it wasn't bootleg merch, I'd probably tell you to buy one too.
This is the birth of my channel's biggest problem, which I've only just recently kicked. Black screen hell. As we go on, it will become more and more obvious that I needed to be appearing on camera, and that's why I finally bit the bullet and decided to do it.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Yeah, that's cool and all.
There should be shit on screen. This isn't a podcast.
Thinking that, but he can do a lot of things. He can help you beat that tough level in the video game you've been struggling.
I think that this video, I should really go back and try to use as a reference to how to do visual comedy. Because a lot of the shit in it is just really funny visually and not I don't know, I think I'm good at making a good visual gag.
Provide you companionship and lend a head during a sad movie scene. Give you accounting advice.
What the hell does that mean?
Fix your computer. Do your schoolwork. And finally, follow proper safety.
I don't know, man, that's just really funny to me. 2020, by the way.
And after a long day's work, he's right there.
Bonk.
As you can clearly see, this plush is worth the $15 for the productivity he gives you.
Should have read that line take.
Okay, terrible jokes out of the way. I do not recommend buying this unless it's somehow struck.
Shut up. I recommend buying this plush because he's precious. Would you deny him your money? I'd give him my credit card. I'd give him my house. Old me, man.
Your fancy from this review, which it really shouldn't have. Iggy has a shockingly large amount of official merchandise that is far superior in every way when compared to Mr. Festive and I Know It over here.
Except Mr. Festive and I Know It is precious. Man, this video actually sucks. I'm hating on the plush I bought.
And you could probably make them festive by buying the hat yourself.
Yeah, okay, fair.
At the end of the day, it's probably worth about...
Ah, yes, the fabled didn't actually happen video. I do this a lot. I say I want to do a video, and I just don't do it because it either leaves my mind, or as I make it, I realize it's not a worthwhile video to make. This is going to be a review on the 8BitDo M30 wireless controller for the Sega Genesis. And as the video is being made, I realized there is nothing to talk about this controller, and I couldn't make it interesting. So I didn't make the video.
I bought during quarantine, which is to say nothing, but it makes a really awesome thing on my shelf.
And that's the end of the video. Introducing another large-scale project coming soon. That would be Galaga videos. Or Galaga ports, rather. And we're going to get to that in a quick second, because I have to go and do a thing. I will be right back. Okay. Missed the last question because I think you sent it right as I was AFK. Also, hi from not the Netherlands. That's crazy late. I appreciate you showing up. Uh, as of right now, my career choice is looking to be like computer sciences. I like tinkering with computers, although a media job does not seem out of the question, especially because it's been my skill set and my hobby for the past 5 years, if not more. Actually, I think we're nearing 10. But yeah, once again, I really appreciate you taking time to hang out. That was definitely a hell of a time zone difference. It's like, yeah, it's gotta be way. Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, definitely something computer sciences seems to be the go. Although media's not out of the question. Anyways, introducing the hyperfixation video. I still play Galaga every once in a while, and I tend to do a score rush every few minutes. But this video, this was a hyperfixation video, and I didn't expect it to do it very well, and it kind of didn't. But it's a pretty good video.
When people think of the classic Namco arcade games that swept the world in the 1980s, most tend to think of Pac-Man, with Galaga coming in at a close second. Both of these games absolutely revolutionized the arcade experience, with great visuals, addictive gameplay that never gets old, and simple control schemes that don't overwhelm the player while also being incredibly versatile in their gameplay.
Yeah, I needed to work on this, and for the longest time, this is just how my videos were. Black screens unless I had gameplay or a picture that was relevant.
With the
I was trying to do a Pat Mac, and his videos are in a similar type of format, where he kind of does that thing, but he has far more footage than he doesn't. So I don't quite know why I did it like this.
Namco saw an opportunity to port the game home, and ever since there's been a version of Galaga on nearly every generation of game console since the NES days. From the PlayStation 1 to the SG-1000, and from the MSX to the Atari 7800, Galaga is a game that rivals Doom in port count. This video will take a look at some of the weird.
Hell yeah, man. See you around.
A few gems sprinkled in between.
This was going to be a running joke for a while. Basically, every video I made for about a year had this song, and I kind of want to bring it back because it was a pretty good song. It was a pretty funny running joke.
Now, if we're taking a look at ports of the game, it's probably wise to cover the game they're based on. Galaga, released to arcades in 1981, is a sequel to 1978's Galaxian, and completely obsolete.
Look at that Galaxian footage. Wouldn't it be funny if I made another video based only around it? Oops, I accidentally skipped forward in the video. So this part of the video, this is where I kind of start skipping, because I just recently watched this video. But I guess I kind of have to sit through it.
Having every enemy spawn on screen at game start, choosing to have enemy ships fly in from multiple sides of the screen, allowing you to clear the board before it even forms. There are a few different types of bugs. The boss Galaga, which dives down and occasionally can capture your ship. The red bug, which is apparently named a Goe, that simply flies down.
I was trying to do motion tracking, and I wasn't able to figure it out.
Really? And the yellow bug, which is apparently named Zacco, which will fly down and loop around before coming back to the top of the stage.
What does this video turn, Alright, January 31st.
You'll be subjected to a challenging stage, which is basically a bonus stage. Your objective is to shoot every alien as they fly down. Doing so will reward in big bonus points and an ego boost.
Am I centered right? Yeah.
You're lame.
Okay.
After the fourth stage, the bugs will start to do a kamikaze attack as they fly in, meaning you need to be ready to avoid them as well as enemy fire. It's an incredibly challenging and rewarding game. Pro level play for this game is insane, and I'm nowhere near that level.
So, this has long since been overtaken as score world record for this game. I think I should have considered seeking the 4-hour-long video for something even slightly interesting, instead of just him sniping a bug on stage 1. This is an awesome run, and I've watched it all. It's just an outright astounding game. Just an astounding attack. The only other thing that's notable about this is I absolutely despise Adobe Premiere masking. It does not work the way it should, and I hate it. But it's the editing software I know how to use, so as you can see, this is a very uneven mask.
The game is insane, and I'm nowhere near that level, but I'm not half bad at it. Galaga revolutionized the arcade shooter genre, and said revolution made Namco a lot of money. So they decided to license and port the game to every single platform ever made afterwards, and it all started with the NES, not including the MSX and SG-1000 versions that came first. I'm going to talk about those later.
Alright, not for a bit. Okay. I picked some bangers, dude.
NES Galaga was the second port to hit the US after Atari made an attempt
So
in
good.
1986. It released in 1988 for the NES.
So, NES Galaga is an interesting game because as I go back to it, I like playing it more than the arcade version, which I know basically to heart, because this game is weird.
Yes, obviously. It runs off of an improved version of the MSX game logic, which
No, it doesn't. It's a direct port.
I swear I'm going to cover in a second. Said logic is also incredibly similar to the arcade logic.
What I should have done is do the MSX first, because it comes first, and the NES version came after it. And obligatory, I have this game, but I'm not going to go grab it off my shelf. I have this game physically on the Famicom.
The enemy logic is very similar to the arcade counterpart. The biggest
Nice
difference
ship
being that
loss,
the kamikaze
idiot.
move is
Oh my
incredibly
god.
fast, and it's very,
Nah, can we clown
very
this guy?
similar to the arcade counterpart. The biggest difference being that the kamikaze move.
Wait, hang on.
The enemy logic is very
Everybody clown him for cornering. Clown this man.
similar to the arcade counterpart. The biggest difference being that the kamikaze move is incredibly fast and it's very hard to counter. The graphics and sound have taken a bit of a hit, mostly the colors and sound
Nah, I'm just
effects,
vibing to the
close
music,
game
dude.
breaking. And a bit of the music is off. Here's a comparison.
That was another thing I did with the port videos, and I don't intend on doing these types of videos anymore because they're a lot of work for pretty medium reward, and I don't have any games I want to do this for anymore. I did them on the games I wanted to do, which was Galaga, Galaxy, and Pac-Man. Space Invaders was one I was going to make, but nah. The sound is off because it's an NES game, and not an arcade game. Which I don't remember what the sound hardware for Galaga is. It's, I think it's just a custom chip. I do think they could have gotten this game sounding a lot closer to the arcade, though. Wait, don't I okay, good. That's the other thing with this game that is weird, is that in every other version of Galaga, or the default dip settings most people play on is 20k, 70k, 70k, which is the amount of extra, which is the extra life threshold. Your first extra life comes at 20,000 points, and then every 70,000 points afterwards. No, you get your first extra life at 20,000. Your next extra life at 70,000, and then every 70,000 points after that. This game plays 30, 70, 70, which is the same thing, but you get your first extra life at 30 for no reason whatsoever.
Overall,
Means you can't get your
solid
first extra
port.
life on
Runs
challenging
well
stage
enough
if you're on
and plays
pace.
fine. But this is nowhere near the best version of the game.
This game is also really hard.
Said flaws are the reason it's so
It's got heavy flaws. I don't elaborate.
baffling that companies still release the NES ROM when they're making their nostalgia bait mini arcades. The arcade version is fairly easy to license
I
and is
fucking hate
far
how,
superior in game.
This is now being commandeered to talk about how My Arcade is one of the worst companies of all time. What have they been up to? Like, what was their last thing? I mean, this was like the last interesting thing they made was this mini player. But I don't think they've put out anything interesting since. I have a couple My Arcade products, of which they were the notable ones. It's the Space Invaders one, which isn't here. It's their, what the hell is a Pico player? I don't know and I don't care. They have a Space Invaders one. I talk about it at some
The
point.
NES version is perfectly fine, but its original predecessor, the MSX, is absolutely nothing but passable if you squint.
The fuck are you talking about? It's the same game. Oh, I know. Because this video has a massive flaw. 1 second. I'm glad I muted for that. I don't emulate the MSX right in this video, so it's very slow. The MSX game runs at full speed. I bang this game for running super slow because I wasn't emulating it right. Most of the time when I'm making a video like this, I'm emulating every game I show. That's really loud.
The MSX doesn't have amazing hardware in terms of power, and Galaga proved that tenfold.
The MSX is a really impressive system, because Metal Gear Solid 2, or Metal Gear 2, sorry, not Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear 2 on the MSX exists, and it looks better than, like, games on the frigging NES. This is an MSX game, and I'm saying, oh my god, but the MSX, it has really bad hardware. I wasn't emulating it right. So I'm going to complain about how this game is super slow.
To say it runs at half the speed of the arcade version.
It
While you might
is...
think that's a good thing, it's not.
It doesn't run at half the speed. Shut up. Guys, it's funny. I don't think I even got a ship capture on this one. Oh, I did. This is the one that I screw up on the perfect on, and it's really funny. I will not be ignoring it, because you didn't emulate the system right. That's the only thing. I only complain about how slow the game is. That's it. On to the funny one. Learn how to audio mix. Oh my god.
What do I even say about this game? Released
The
around the same time as
SG-1000
MSX
version
Galaga,
is so
the
funny.
SG-1000 port is as loose of an interpretation of Galaga as you can get. 2 enemy patterns that loop endlessly, no bonus stages, incredibly boring gameplay, and they couldn't even get the damn sound right.
Yeah, the SG-1000 version of this game is super funny.
The SG-1000 port of Galaga is a curious oddity. It has no play value and is somehow fun. It is a complete guess as to how Galaga should look and feel, and is by far the most out there of a port you can get.
I want to say when I was recording footage for this, I straight up had to kill myself to stop because the game has 2 patterns and it's the easiest version of the game. I literally was like, okay, I'm getting sick of this, I'm just going to die.
Followed closely by Galaga on the Atari 7800, of course.
Hey, this is another really funny part of the game.
The 7800. The Atari console that is known for nothing else other than releasing in 1986. Galaga was actually a launch title for the console, and I'm honestly shocked they tried to rush it out as hard as they did. It's a pretty piss port, all things considered. Enemy movement is completely slow and erratic, the screen ratio is completely messed up, and despite using the arcade patterns, any arcade memorization you have needs to be thrown out the window when playing this game. The weird-ass backward enemy movement completely ruins the game.
Yeah, this game is really bad. This isn't an emulation thing. I know this game plays like this.
7800, it judders around and then moves at a massive diagonal, which you are never able to accurately predict and counter.
Yeah, I was shit at this version of the game.
Someone playing the arcade version and forgetting to wear their contact lenses. It's a rough amalgamation of the arcade graphics that are only accurate if you squint. Most don't even remember. Overall, Atari held to their brand and released a terrible port of a classic game on a console most don't even remember. The 78 port has zero reason to exist, and yet it does anyway. Maybe it was a punishment for humanity's sin. Probably not.
I should start writing really off-the-cuff random jokes like that again. They were really funny. Next.
On a completely unrelated note, Game Boy. There was a combo cart released in 1995 for the original Game Boy.
I ran out of Galaga-related songs, so now we're just using songs from Ridge Racer, which is very, very much okay, because Ridge Racer Type 4 is a jam.
Which bundled new ports of Galaga and Galaxian together for a shockingly great experience all around. The game had Super Game Boy enhanced colors and borders, which you're seeing
See, you can see them.
And honestly did a pretty good job representing the visuals, gameplay, and audio.
That's because this is the NES version of the game ported to the Game Boy with different visuals. Sorry.
I'd say the gameplay is a bit better than NES Galaga,
but it's the same thing.
Colors. The Game Boy still only has 4 colors, even with the Super Game Boy. So they had to sacrifice for this port. The biggest problem with the chosen color palette is that the default color for the boss Galagas is blue, which is going to mess you up hard when you play this game.
So don't play it on the Super Game Boy. This game wasn't made for the Super Game Boy. It was made for the regular. Just get footage of that, idiot. In fact, I do that for Galaxian. I don't do it for this video, though.
Galaga is a Galaga...
Yeah. It's the same version of the game. See, look, it's Galaxian. I'll talk about that later in a video that has 800 views for no reason.
I'm gonna cheat a bit, as I'd be doing you all a bit dirty if I didn't at least mention a Namco Museum game. For this video, I decided to take a...
Fun fact, this game is what I have my current best score on, and I call it my current best because it is a direct port of arcade logic. So as far as I'm concerned, it counts for runs. My current personal best in this game is, I believe, a 204.768 score.
Look at Volume 1 on the PlayStation 1. And while I was expecting a gimped experience overall, I was
It's at the very least like 200,000. It's like breaks that. I don't remember. I'd have to go pull up the score.
shocked to see a near arcade perfect port. Namco Museum PlayStation 1's version of Galaga does the game justice in terms of graphics and gameplay, being the closest any port so far has gotten to the arcade. It's very hard to tell much of a difference when playing it until you listen to the audio. They used a mix of strangely low-quality captures from the arcade and replications of some arcade jingles that
This is the weird part.
sound just that little bit off. It is absolutely nowhere close to being game-breaking, however, you can very easily tell that the sound is off. Here's a comparison.
This is the PlayStation 1, which could do CD quality audio. Why is it so bad? The only way that this, like, works is that, like, for some ungodly reason, like, I don't know, something shitty. It's weird. And then they get, like, Red Book, like, audio for that. I don't get it. You better have gotten a perfect. Look at that. I am actually really excited to talk about a
Overall,
very
for
specific video.
1995, the PlayStation 1 Namco Museum port is incredibly impressive. It got what it needed to get right, and is
That's gonna
overall
be
an
interesting.
impressively close port to arcade. The only grievance I have is that it places the score to the side, which a lot of ports so far has done.
It's okay, just play it in tape mode.
This wouldn't be a problem if most people didn't use the score to center their shit for bonus.
In fact, there's a setting you can change to put the score back at the top at 4x3, and I didn't turn it on for that. Alright, it's time for the
Here's a
etceteras.
forgotten game streaming service. Launched in 2005, GameTap was a service meant to be a first of its kind.
I would very much appreciate it if anybody watching this would tell me that they use GameTap, because as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist.
Broadband gaming network where you could stream and play old games on multiple devices. Of course, Galaga was included here alongside other classics like Sonic 1, Earthworm Jim, Crazy Taxi, Pitfall, etc. Unfortunately, it was a streaming service launched in 2005, peak I want to actually own things era, and thus... what the hell, it lasted 5 years? Yeah, GameTap shockingly didn't die out instantly like I initially thought, instead somehow managing to claw into life for 5 years.
I don't understand how this worked. From what I could tell is that this was a PC streaming platform, but I'm very curious as to what version of Galaga they were running, because I couldn't find any video of that. I can only find this commercial. And just the way that it was running certain games. I'd be very interested to try to track down, like, any
That's
other
off topic.
information.
Back on the topic of Galaga, the GameTap version appears to have just been the arcade version, so there really isn't much interesting to talk about.
Like, they had Beyond Good and Evil, dude. Like, what was running here? And then they had, like, shows. Like, you could just watch Space Ghost. This is the obligatory outro recap part of the video, so we don't need to watch that. I'm not going to talk about Galaga again for a few videos, and when I do talk about it again, it's, I know that Internet Ivan is watching this video right now because he is a spineless bastard. And, hi Ivan, I'm not holding back and I'm telling what happened, so have fun with that when I get to your video.
Imagine this. It's 2011.
I'm so excited.
Just gotten you an iPod Touch for your birthday. The possibilities you now have are immense, and it's hard for you to decide what you want to do first.
This was a extreme passion project video. I put it out just randomly. This was like, oh, good topic. I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And I did it before Scott the Woz did it.
And it hits you.
I think 2021. When did Scott do his mobile games on consoles video? Yeah, I beat him by like 6 months. Get fucked, Scott.
Start downloading a fuckload of
Nah, I love Scott the Woz. One of my all-time favorite YouTubers. Very much an inspiration for a lot of how I do my content.
games. Games like Fruit Ninja, Jetpack Joyride, Cut the Rope, Flappy Bird.
In fact, I actually attribute 3DS End of an Era doing so well to the fact that I accidentally uploaded it a day after Scott the Woz uploaded. And I think, or it was on the same day or something, and I think it got pushed into Scott Recommended, which brought a lot of Scott viewers to me, and I'm very much lucky that I did it that way.
Of course, Angry Birds all absolutely kicked ass back in the day.
Or the fact that half of those were in mobile games at first.
Pick up for a couple of rounds and then put back down. These games define the App Store and still get hundreds of thousands of downloads every day. And with this incredible success came lots of strange monetary ventures. Lots of
Put things on the screen. I don't know why I thought this was cool, or why this was a good thing to do.
mobile game classics got ports to some of the weirdest platforms, and that's what we're going to look at today. Let's get started.
Let's get started. That's my line. Such a generic ass line.
Let's start with something a bit tame. Jetpack Joyride, released in 2011.
Yes, I love this game.
Runner game where you avoid all sorts of obstacles while collecting coins and attempting to go as far as possible.
It is unironically the game that I play most on my PlayStation Vita. And that's not even a joke.
Its addictive yet simple one-finger gameplay made it a prime target for porting. Sony decided to nab a few ports of the game for themselves, releasing versions for the PS3, Vita,
This
and
took
PlayStation Portable.
effort.
I'm going to be looking at the PSP version, as the Vita and PS3 versions are near perfect recreations of the mobile game.
I have since verified that with PS3 version I played as a kid and bought the PlayStation Vita 2 years after making that video, in which I verified that it's the mobile version of the game from a couple years prior.
And while I wasn't expecting too much from this version, I was pleasantly surprised to see a damn solid port of the classic on the PSP.
PSP version's pretty good.
That's just about everything a Jetpack Joyride game needs. A ton of scientists, bumping music, absurd amounts of floating currency, and lots of very fatal obstacles.
I should cover this song.
Graphics are on point, with only a few minor graphical flourishes. Most sound effects sound weirdly downsampled, though.
I was supposed to add a reference, but I got lazy and didn't put the reference to the sound there.
In summary, the Joyride port to PSP is incredibly solid, much to my surprise. The gameplay is on point, and it's a classic game of Jetpack Joyride. There's not a lot to complain about here.
No, there is not. PSP version's really solid.
Let's jump from Half-Brick to PopCap and discuss some Bejeweled.
Bejeweled isn't a mobile game. This shouldn't be in the video, but I was big on Bejeweled at the time, and I wanted to include it.
Bejeweled, while not initially a mobile game, definitely has its legacy in the App Store, being the pioneer of the match-3 puzzler genre that still controls the App Store to this day. Bejeweled's incredible
I love Bejeweled.
Play lent itself well to ports on nearly every platform imaginable, from the Palm PDAs to the DS to even the iPod. Remember when iPods could have games loaded onto them?
Yes, I do.
Bejeweled 3's port to the DS today. Released in 2011, the DS port of Bejeweled 3 is absolutely one of the most impressively accurate ports of a game I've ever played on a DS.
Do you think I say depressively or impressively accurate there? Because I've never been able to figure it out. I think in the script it's impressive. I don't know, though.
Nearly everything is nailed to a near perfect degree.
I don't know why I dick ride this port. It's really not that good. You can tell the graphics took a downgrade. I switched the music, and like you can tell the music is worse, but it plays fine. I think I was just like really impressed that it like didn't feel like garbage, especially because they put Bejeweled 2 on the PSP, and it's really bad on the PSP. It's horrible on that system.
Gameplay is solid and makes perfect sense on the DS with its touchscreen. The music is somehow ported in its entirety. With remixes.
No, it's not. Multiple songs are in the DS version.
That sound basically identical to the versions in PC and console versions of the game.
Yes, I did, because it's a blatantly obvious MIDI. Oh my god.
And the graphics, while definitely lower res, are most definitely Bejeweled. Overall, this port is absolutely spectacular, and is honestly one of the best ways to play Bejeweled 3. If you have no other option, it's fully worth it.
Just go play it on the phone. Bejeweled 3 is on mobile. I think it's just called Bejeweled Classic,
now,
but it's
I'd be
Bejeweled
doing
3.
everyone a disservice if I didn't at least mention Angry Birds.
I should have talked more about Angry Birds in this video, because there's a lot of really interesting Angry Birds ports. There's the Vita version of the game, there's the Wii U version, there's the Xbox 360 version with Kinect. If I were to go back and remake this video, I'd be spending a lot more time on Angry Birds, because it has some of the most interesting console ports.
In this video. Angry Birds, released in 2009 on the App Store, absolutely demolished the sales
The PSP version is funny, though.
charts and has been downloaded more than 4 billion times since. The game is a simple yet addictive form.
Oh, I haven't seen that in ages. Oh, the nostalgia of that really old loading screen, dude. Oh, I haven't seen that in so long. Man, they gotta freaking fix their brand. I don't know why they're still rolling with the movie designs and shit. But dude,
formula, which translates pretty
right
well
there.
to ports. So of course it got a PSP version. What are you, stupid? And while you probably expect a PlayStation Portable version of Angry Birds to be absolutely garbage, I was genuinely surprised to see that the game controls pretty decent. Controlled with the PSP's analog stick, you fling birds at pigs pretty much as well as you could with touch on other platforms.
That's a fucking lie.
The game has all of the initial content from the
Show
game,
gameplay.
and it nails the graphics.
Why am I doing this stupid showing you the
Honestly,
title
the
sequence?
controls aren't the most elegant thing in the world, but they definitely work. This is a perfectly fine
Da-da-da.
version of Angry Birds.
I linger because I didn't show any gameplay during the part that should have shown gameplay.
Let's finish this video out with some Fruit Ninja.
Yeah.
It tends to lean more towards experimental takes on its formula.
Unless you're playing on the PlayStation Vita, in which case it's the mobile game.
And it doesn't take a genius to tell as such.
Unless you're playing on the PlayStation Vita, which...
We're going to focus on 2 ports here. Fruit Ninja Connect for the Xbox 360 and Fruit...
At the time of making this video, I had never played Fruit Ninja Connect, and I had wanted to play it for a really long time. So the sequel to this video in spirit is a video of me playing Fruit Ninja Connect. I have played it since, and it's actually really fun. It's janky and a broken video game, but it's really fun. Fruit Ninja VR I had played, and it is an overpriced game, but it's a pretty fun one. They should make a second one that's better.
Fruit Ninja
Really,
Connect
went
actually
meta.
nearly made me buy a Connect back when it released, and having looked at lots of gameplay since, I think I was better off not bothering.
Fair.
It's incredibly janky, registering just about any slightly fast movement of your arm as a sword slash, and is overall very, very...
As a matter of fact, I actually think that the game is undersensitive, and it misses slashes more than it overreads. I'd rather it read more than it has to than miss movements.
very annoying to play. Fruit Ninja VR fixes this by effectively giving you a sword in your hands. This gives you a way to gauge if your slash will land.
What's funny about Fruit Ninja VR on the PlayStation VR 1 is that game actually let you use a DualShock 4 with the light bar as a controller to do the sword slashes. It's really bad. Because if you don't remember, the PSVR was a really, really bad thing. Because as a VR headset, it required the use of the PlayStation Move wands from 2010 in 2017. Definitely think the PSVR 2 is an upgrade, but at the price it's at right now, it's absolutely bombing. But it is definitely a better piece of hardware. If it were to get PC support, I'd buy one. So Sony, get on it.
A far more enjoyable experience. Both games have classic arcade and Zen modes like the mobile version, but in my personal opinion, nothing can beat the classic touch gameplay of Fruit Ninja.
Fair enough. That's the end of the video, by the way. I hope you weren't enjoying it too much. The conclusion, I shit you not, is just a black screen for a minute. How did I even get views? It's time for the prequel to Internet Ivan Can Go to Hell and Die. This video got dislike bombed by that bastard, because I dared to not like him. And we're gonna get to him in a minute because he still gets views, sadly, and I know I don't have any audience to sick, and I don't intend sicking them on him, but he's a bastard, so...
Previously on win9x.
What's good, Ghost?
When people think of the classic Namco arcade games that swept the world in the 1980s, most tend to think of Pac-Man, with Galaga coming in at a close second.
This is another Galaga video, Galaga Ports-esque video. Second to last one I made.
I've already covered the Galaga ports in a previous video, so it's only natural that I'd cover Pac-Man next. As you can see in my great selection of arcade cabinets at home, I enjoy these games a fair amount.
I have not had these set up for like a year. This one is just in a complete state of disarray and is currently being used as a table to hold things in my garage. And that one's just in my closet not being used because it's terrible.
A fair amount. And while Galaga might have been a hit in the arcades, Pac-Man outright redefined them. Released in 1980, Pac-Man absolutely demolished the sales charts and made the maze game a viable genre. And after the incredible success of Pac-Man, home releases were a given. Atari decided they wanted first dibs on Pac-Man and thus purchased the exclusive rights to console versions of the game. And with that purchase, production on one of the most infamous arcade ports ever made began.
Pac-Mania has a really underrated
Before we start
soundtrack.
with the actual video, allow me to shamelessly
Ah.
plug. I've got a Discord server now.
No, I don't. The Discord server's been dead for, I think we're nearing a year now. And it isn't even intentional. My Discord account got banned for reasons I'll never be able to know. I changed my profile picture and they banned me for botting. So yeah, since that was the account that owned the server and no one else had permissions, it lays in a limbo state, and you can't. I don't have an invite link public. I think the server itself is pretty much just completely dead. Last message was March of 2023, which was sent. Yeah, this video very, very, very rarely gets this channel. This Discord is basically just completely dead. So yeah. Oops.
Come join and hang out if you'd like. The link is in the description.
No, it's not.
Imagine
There it is.
It's 1982, and Atari is on top of the home console market in the US. With the 2600 absolutely obliterating sales with arcade ports and original games.
It's funny, because in 82, the 2600 was already on a decline. The 2600 really was only popular, like, video game console big-wise for a couple of years, and at this point it was already starting to go downhill.
Seemed to be living large, with no chance to fail. So of course Atari fucking died.
And was reborn again, and then died again, and was reborn again, and died again, and is now a cryptocurrency metaverse scam that Tommy Tallarico took notes from.
That's jumping ahead
His mom's very proud
of the story, so let's rewind back a bit. 1983 was going to be a huge year for
I actually was trying to find this for the longest time, trying to remember if it was like a news article I had read or something like that. No, I found this from a Scott the Woz video, so I took this from a Scott the Woz video. For all I know, nobody thought 1983 was going to be good.
the 2600, with the headlining titles being a game adaptation of the smash hit film E.T. and a long-awaited home port of, you guessed it, Pac-Man.
I will never understand why Atari banked on E.T., of all things, when the movie had already been out for a couple of years, didn't have the holiday hype, and just, honestly, I don't think it was a very big pop cultural movie. It's because I wasn't around at the time. I'm sure if I was a kid in the 80s, I'd have been like, ooh, that's pretty cool. But, like, as far as I can tell, like, you gotta think, like, how many 80s properties still get shilled by, like, people to this day, right? E.T. is very rarely one of them. Like, you'll see Terminator, you'll see Transformers, you'll see G.I. Joe, you'll see a bunch of stuff like that. Things that got really popular in the 80s that still get shilled to this day. E.T. isn't one of them. Hell, I mean, Jurassic Park, I think, had a bigger impact on society than E.T. did.
There's only one problem with these plans. Atari rushed these games to hell and back, and thus made two safe hits into two of the most infamously awful video games ever made.
I really do feel bad for the developers, because they were shunned, and they were thrown under the bus by Atari for this, when in reality they were the ones who worked the hardest to try to save these games. I highly recommend, I think it's High Score on Netflix, the documentary series. Very well done. They talk to a lot of people that are actually being mentioned in they talk to a lot of integral developers. They go over a lot of different things. It's a really well put together series, and I really enjoyed it.
Pac-Man on the Atari 2600 is objectively terrible, and there's very little else you can say about it. The graphics are absolutely awful, the mazes are cut in half from 244 pellets to 126.
I think I counted the pellets. I don't think that there was a number that I found on like 2 seconds of Googling, so I'm pretty sure I straight up counted the pellets.
And the gameplay is very poor to say the absolute least. The ghost's stray turns being on the screen every frame, which leads to this horrible flicker effect that just hurts to look at after a while. And while you might expect a shitty port to fail hard, the sheer brand power of Pac-Man led this game to skyrocket directly up to the top of the sales charts. It became the best-selling 2600 game ever released. But good sales...
It is actually pretty impressive how well this game did despite being pretty critically derided. It is the top-selling Atari game.
Never equal good reviews, as this port was heavily maligned by...
Oh, I hate this line. Hold on.
But good sales never equal good reviews.
Why did I say it like that? I should have said don't always equal, but I say never. Like, the fuck does that mean?
As this port was heavily maligned by most reviewers, just like its ill-fated brother, E.T. Overall, the Atari port of Pac-Man was just not enough to save Atari, and thus led to the video game market crash of 1983.
I wish I had talked about Miss Pac-Man on Atari 2600, because that is a much better game. Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 music, or sorry,
going from a game
Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus, which is better than Pac-Man Championship Edition 2.
game console that can barely run Pong to one that can actually play a video game that resembles, well, a video game. Pac-Man has oddly 2 ports to the NES.
No, it doesn't.
One was handled in
I regret the way I covered this. I act like they're different ports when they aren't. Pac-Man on the NES got 2 versions of the same game released. One was released by Tengen when they had Namco licensing rights, and the other was released by Namco themselves after Tengen died in like the 90s.
house by Namco, while the other was published by Tengen, the Atari subsidiary that was created to circumvent both publisher restrictions and the NES lockout chip. The Namco release is pretty indicative of their NES ports at the time, being a port of the MSX code to the NES. It's close enough to the arcade to be playable, but is graphically and audially worse in almost every way. The best way to show this would probably be the intermission. Take a look.
I'm actually really bad at Pac-Man, so on a couple of times I meant to do this for the port, but couldn't get to intermission to show it, because I'm actually really shit at Pac-Man. I put all of my Namco Arcade Good Boy points into Galaga, you have to understand. I did not need to show the entire intermission.
Pac-Man by Tengen, though, isn't very interesting. Well, with my wording, you might expect it to be different. It's unfortunately identical.
I even pointed out, like, with my wording, you might expect it to be different, but don't word it like that.
Outside the title screen and box.
I have done this a lot differently, going back. Why do I have this? Oh, I know I have this video liked. Because if as stated prior, Internet Ivan being a petty little baby, sending his mob of, like, 10 people to just, like, bomb the video for some reason.
For a second, I want to talk about Miss Pac-Man. It's close enough, right? Miss Pac-Man has 2 ports that are of interest to this video.
Yeah, I love this remix.
On the NES, Namco and Tengen once again the best way to explain this one would be to do a side-by-side comparison. Tengen Miss Pac-Man is just better in every way, though. It's full screen with more accurate controls and sound. Namco's plays much slower, and it's not as fun. The Namco port's shoddy quality is even more inexcusable when you realize that Miss Pac-Man from Tengen came out 3 years earlier in 1990 and is
Yeah, the Namco port of Miss Pac-Man is terrible.
leagues better. It really should have been the only port released, but Tengen got into a heck of a lot of legal trouble thanks to their NES lockout circumvention. This meant the superior version was super unlicensed, which meant Namco had to rush a release out to keep Miss Pac-Man on shelves.
Well, no, they didn't. They took their pre-existing MSX code like they did for everything else, while Tengen rewrote Miss Pac-Man themselves.
If you want more information on the whole Tengen debacle, I highly recommend taking a look at
Still
the
do.
historian's video on the subject, which will be linked in the description.
One of my all-time
Now onto
favorite
Genesis.
YouTube videos.
Miss Pac-Man was ported by Tengen, and it's based off their amazing NES port, thus there's not a lot to say on it.
Hey, I want to know what I should have mentioned. The hideous original title screen for Miss Pac-Man on the Genesis. Please, if you are under the age of 2, look away from the screen. Jesus fucking Christ. It's horrific. What is this hideous little bitch? It's so bad. And like, I'm so glad they fixed it, but it's just like, Give me happy, smiling, regular Miss Pac-Man all day, every day. Oh, it's so
just a
bad.
version all around. Namco didn't even bother making their own version and just licensed the Tengen version, which was the right call, as this port's incredible.
They licensed the NES version too. No, they didn't.
Next, I'd like to cover some of the strangest ports of the original Pac-Man that ended up hidden in one of the weirdest games in the entire franchise, Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. The SNES and Genesis versions both have Pac-Man hidden in the arcade.
Yeah, I didn't know this until I was doing research for the video, but you can play the original Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man in the Genesis version. And they are updated MSX ports. And Pac-Man 2.
And strangely, both use updated ports of the NES version. These two versions are near identical, but the sound's a bit better on the Genesis version, weirdly enough.
Entirely subjective. What I should have said is it's closer to how the arcade sounded. Nice Mega Drive.
These ports are fine enough as bonuses, but aren't replacements for the original game. Not even close.
What's funny is I had to cheat to get footage for this because I just couldn't stand playing Pac-Man 2. I hate that game so much. Because you can use cheat codes to skip straight to them in both versions, and I don't ever show footage of the Genesis version, but I do believe it is identical.
Lastly, I'm gonna cheat again. Pac-Mania, released in 1987, is an isometric
This is one of the most underrated games of all time. Pac-Mania rocks.
take on the original Pac-Man, which I just so happen to love. It got a few different ports, namely to the Sega Genesis and NES. This port has by far the worst looking title screen I think I've ever seen.
No, that would be the worst title screen I've ever seen, but try again.
It looks horrible.
Yeah, again.
And unfortunately, the graphics aren't very far off from that.
It's an NES.
Horrible. With
Oh wait, this is the
colors,
Genesis
color
version.
palette, sprite work. But the gameplay is its saving factor, as it's very close to the arcade.
Yeah, this game looks terrible for the Genesis.
It's snappy, hops feel great, controls pretty well, and it sounds pretty close to the arcade. This was yet
Pac-Man's Park is like a banger.
another port handled by Tengen, and as far as I'm concerned, they really should have focused on keeping their company afloat and not Namco ports, because holy hell, these ports are great. Now, since Pac-Man was released at the height of the NES's success, it just had to get a port to that system too.
Did I say Pac-Man or Pac-Mania there?
Released at the height of the holy hell, these ports are great. Now, since Pac-Man was released
I said Pac-Man, not Pac-Mania. Everybody flame this man. What is he streaming? Not my fucking stream. Fuck you, Robbie.
at the height of the NES's success, it just had to get a port to that system too. And well, by some miracle, the NES port of Pac-Mania is really good. Graphically it stinks, but of course it does.
No, it doesn't. It looks better than the fucking Genesis version.
For 1987, Pac-Mania looked really ahead of its time, and there was no way they managed to get that
I
onto the
agree.
NES perfectly. Instead, they focused on making the game perform and play just as well as the arcade did. Hops feel perfect, the turns are snappy, and the game manages to run at a locked frame rate with no slowdown. This port is yet again brought to us by the Wizards, a Tengen's Namco porting team, which explains why it's actually half decent.
Yeah, no, Tengen just did really good Pac-Man ports. I don't know why. And I actually want to say Pac-Mania was Famicom exclusive on the Genesis, on the NES. I am lying to you. It was very much an NES game. I thought it was a Famicom exclusive for some reason.
There is no shortage of ways to play Pac-Man and its many.
The only reason I am noting the ending for this is I lost the retake of this I did, where I mentioned the Game Gear version, and I wish I had covered that, because the Game Gear version's weird. Also, goddamn, I accidentally jump scared you with the Proto-Bis Pac-Man art a third time. Oops. Alright, folks, we're getting dangerously close to my my favorite part of this stream tonight. We have 2 more videos, of which one isn't particularly of interest to this stream, because it's just me talking about my Roblox account, and what I had done with it over the past, I think it was 10 years at this point. It's been 10 years at this point. At this point, it was 9 or 8. So this video isn't of significance. This video is, Tetris Variants is a video that's good. Galaxy Imports is the start of a funny thing, but we'll get to that. I'm so excited.
Tetris is one of the most successful video games ever created, but I imagine I don't need to tell you that. Billions of people have played Tetris or a variant of it at least once in their life, regardless of how much of a gamer they are. It's a very simple concept to learn, but is quite difficult to master, which just so happens to be why I love it so much. Tetris as a concept is very easy to modify due to its simplicity, which has led to countless different variations on hundreds of platforms. Today I'll be taking a look at just a few of the ports and variants that have been released. Let's get started.
Gotta love the IP Strouts.
To truly understand Tetris as a concept,
Fan noise.
it's best to go back and look at the original game. Tetris by Alexei Pajitnov is a tile matching game for the Electronica 60 microcomputer. It's a very simple game, especially compared to some of the future releases. The sound consists exclusively of shrill beeps, and blocks take a really long time to fall. It's entirely in green with very simple graphics. But even with all of these primitive drawbacks, it's still recognizably Tetris. The mechanics are on place, and it plays well. You can tell there's a good reason this game became a worldwide sensation, even managing to transcend the Iron Curtain during peak Cold War tension. And part of the reason why this game became so massive is thanks to Nintendo, who got the license to home console versions of Tetris.
Do I start talking about the Game Boy version right after this, or do I just save the NES version?
The Game Boy was a huge...
That answers my question.
Before its introduction, portable video games were cheap, calculator-like joyrides that got old in about 15 minutes. No one had successfully tried to launch a portable game system with games on par with home consoles. But Gunpei Yokoi had a vision, and it consisted of 4 shades of green. The Game Boy was meant to be a premium system at a relatively cheap price, both to produce and to purchase. And part of the reason the Game Boy truly took off was thanks to the bundled game. Tetris was adapted by bulletproof software for the Game Boy in 1989, 5 years after the original game was created. This game is where the classic Tetris theme originates, as well as the general style you'd expect from modern Tetris games these days. It refined the gameplay and speed to a T, nailed the sound, and I mean, come on, it's Game Boy Tetris. You already know it's iconic.
All I had to say on the game was that it was iconic.
At the same time as Tetris on the Game Boy.
I think I spent more... Oh, shit. I think I spent more time talking about the Game Boy than I do the actual game. Whoops.
The NES version of Tetris is a similar game with a few notable differences. It's a bit harder, has much different graphics, and notably lacks the Game Boy's iconic Tetris theme.
This is true.
However,
NES,
really well and doesn't
NES Tetris doesn't have the
feel
game.
much worse in terms of control.
Hey, by the way, you recognize this footage at all?
The most notable thing about Tetris on NES these days...
We all give shouts to the brothers at war. Dog and Andy. Same room. Or same house. They live together. They're both gods at NES Tetris.
To
Love
this
'em.
day, people are still finding ways to max out their scores in this game, and tournament play is downright insane to watch.
I always make it a point to catch the Classic Tetris World Championship Finals because it's just such fun.
While the US was enjoying this really great port, on the other side of the globe, Japan was getting a different game entirely.
I feel like a lot of people forget this.
Tetris on the Famicom is frankly a mess.
The Famicom version of Tetris is a completely different version to the NES game, and I always think people forget that.
It's still developed by bulletproof software, and on first impression, you think it's okay, and then you play it. Tetris on the Famicom is graphically perfectly fine and has pretty okay sound, but the gameplay is outright uncontrollable. Down on the D-pad rotates your piece, and A hard drops it. That is all of the piece control you get outside of horizontal movement. Good luck! It's outright impossible to get anywhere with this control method, especially if you have muscle memory like mine. I just cannot wrap my head around these controls.
We'll never recommend an 8-bit controller. These things fall apart way too fast, but they were nice for Tetris.
Nor understand why this was the control method chosen for this version of Tetris. It's a mess, plain and simple. Avoid at all costs.
Yeah, this game controls like a fucking mess. The fact that it flips what you would expect your drop and rotate pieces to, like, the fuck were you guys on? Why is it a different version of the game? It's time, I believe, for...
It's time to jump from Nintendo's variants to, oddly, the arcade. Tetris has loads...
Why did I say oddly the arcade?
Avoid it all.
Puyo Puyo
It's time to jump
Tetris.
from Nintendo's variants to, oddly, the arcade. Tetris has loads of arcade outings from many different companies, one of them being Sega. Sega's arcade version of Tetris is actually pretty solid. It's got decent sound, alright controls, although I'm not a huge fan of the way it handles piece spinning, and it's even got trippy background graphics. Thanks, Sega!
Iguana.
Next is Atari's take on Tetris in the arcades. I honestly think I might have the least to say on this version. It's so by the numbers that I really have to try to care about it. It controls fine, although the momentum...
What's actually interesting about this game that I don't mention is that it is not Marathon Tetris. It gives you goals you have to reach.
...to gain when you soft drop them is weird. Sounds okay, and is visually fine, but it's so...
What do I talk about Final Tetris?
Basic. It's not worth playing. But, if you're looking for the opposite of basic, why not try Tetris Decaris? Sega Arcade...
Decorous. I've gotten flamed for this by multiple people. Decorous. Decorous. It's not Decaris, it's Decorous. And why didn't I just call it Tetris Giant? That's what everybody else calls it.
The most notable part of Decaris is its controller.
Decorous.
A giant joystick. Who could have thunk it? This game has odd gameplay, but it's still quite fun. This is coming from someone who's playing it on a regular controller as opposed to a giant fuck-off stick, though. It's got 2 modes of note, those being a line challenge mode, gives you a time limit and requires you to clear a set number of lines, And then there's challenge mode, which has you trying to be the best by clearing as many lines as possible. It's a really strange game, but I really enjoyed what I played of it. Maybe someday I'll get to try the original cabinet.
Still a dream of mine.
Continuing on the weird-ass arcade tangent,
Final Tetris! I love this game.
Bootleg, which I still cannot understand for the life of me. It's got such classic characters like Jindog and Marco, and strange power-up mechanics I just don't get at all. It even seems to steal
Final Tetris is the greatest game of all time.
sound effects from Capcom fighting games like Final Fight
Three.
and Street Fighter. The game's super difficult, controls like ass, and is just a fever dream of a bad game. I highly recommend it.
It's so fun. It's so funny. It barely
Let's
works.
finish this arcade tangent with a game I'd be dead if I didn't at least mention. Tetris the Grandmasters.
TGM, thank you, Valid.
Themselves on being the ultimate challenge, only fit for a Tetris.
I'm dog shit at Tetris Grandmaster. It's just, I'm so bad.
I've got Grandmaster 3 footage here, and I can guarantee you I am not good enough to be playing this game. It's one of the hardest Tetris games ever made, with some pretty weird controls and stupid difficult speeds. At the risk of sounding repetitive, there is a reason why Grandmaster is considered the ultimate test of Tetris skill. I should really keep practicing the games before I try it again. With Tetris being as massive as it is, mobile games were definitely a given. And while tons existed before this, I think EA fully destroyed the competition with their Tetris game.
Everybody put F's in chat.
Which had a mix of great music, awesome visuals, and outright perfect controls. This version, released around 2011, was the bomb. It's still by far the version of Tetris I've spent the most time playing, and frankly is a classic. But this smooth sailing wouldn't last, as in 2020, EA unceremoniously shut the game down, promising a replacement game soon. And well, for better or for worse, we got that. Tetris' current mobile outing, developed by Network with a 3, is frankly atrocious. When it launched, it was basically just Tetris. I played it day one, and paid the $4.99 to remove advertisements. It had a marathon mode and a few skins. But I went back to the game a while ago with a few friends, and it's become a complete microtransaction-filled fuckfest of terrible. The game locks the marathon mode behind a leveling system, which is outright offensive for a Tetris game. It's got so much bloat it might as well be a Candy Crush game, and the controls are absolutely awful. EA's Tetris had incredible touch controls that felt perfectly balanced and were very natural.
My favorite part about this game is the fact that you can, your old purchases for ad removal have been completely invalidated. To remove ads, you can only do it for 30 days. I have no idea what the status of this port is, because this video was made 2 years ago. Oops. Hey, I'm live talking about Tetris. Why am I not there? It's gone. The video is gone. Oh no.
Tetris is one of...
This video is from, nearly 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago, actually.
Which is outright offensive for a Tetris game. It's got so much bloat it might as well be a Candy Crush game, and the controls are absolutely awful. EA's Tetris had incredible touch controls that felt perfectly balanced and were very natural. Network's replacement is just no substitute. The swipe controls feel messy and imprecise, which is a bad sign. Thankfully, they offer button controls, and honestly, I think they might be worse. They're tiny and have zero feedback, visual or haptic, which means you have no idea what you're doing. I honestly think I did worse using the buttons.
Which I have no footage for some reason.
If you paid the $4.99 to remove ads at the start, your purchase has been completely invalidated. They now offer a $4.99 per month subscription plan to do what the one purchase would have done before. I'm frankly offended by the absolute mess which is Network's Tetris, and just wish EA had renewed their mobile license. When your game has more microtransactions than a fucking EA game, you've ballsed it.
Yeah, EA Tetris was amazing, and I miss it every day. Plus, it just had a vibe, man. I mean, EA Mobile Tetris just... I mean, this game was just... It was a vibe. But it just sucks that it's gone, because it was the best mobile Tetris game. And now we have garbage, terrible one. I really, really, really miss this game. Every day, I cry. And that's the end of the video. Summary, not worth watching. One more video, and then we get to do the fun part. Alright, Galaxian ports. This video, for some reason, has 800 views. I'm not sure why. I half-assed it.
I've covered Galaga, I've covered Pac-Man.
Oh, we'll get there.
It's about time we talked about the game that put Namco on the map, Galaxian.
It really isn't.
In 1979, Galaxian was the first massive success Namco really had in the US, and was a massive jump in gameplay and graphics when compared to Space Invaders, which released the year prior.
And I like playing Space Invaders less.
While the ships did still spawn at the same time in a set order, they no longer stay static in that position, instead flying down at the player in set patterns. This meant the player had more to worry about when compared to Space Invaders, as Galaxian had both enemy fire and kamikaze aliens to deal with. Galaxian was a huge hit in Japan and absolutely smashed the charts in the US, which meant ports were a given. So of fucking course Atari felt the need to grab rights to it.
But all of the consoles, actually. Hold on, I'll let myself speak. Waste of the Namco Museum DS intro.
Oddly enough, ports of Galaxian didn't really start releasing until the mid-80s. Atari had two main console ports of Galaxian, one for the 2600 and one for the 5200. And while you might expect the 2600 port to just suck, it manages to actually function for the most part. The 2600 managed to run the game with pretty faithful logic when compared to the arcade. The aliens all act as one might expect, with fine controls and very Atari-looking sound and graphics. There's really not much to say here. It plays perfectly fine. Atari 5200's Galaxian,
Emulator's not working right, by the way.
on the other hand, is just ass. The Atari 5200 uses an analog joystick with no self-centering mechanism, which means your ship is always moving regardless of where you put the stick.
Serious.
This makes the game uncontrollable. The graphics really don't look too much better than the 2600, and the sound is identical. It just looks horrible and doesn't play much better. Avoid at all costs.
Yeah, the 5200 isn't a very good version of the game. Shock. Smash Bros. Remix. I've been trying to figure out where the songs come from.
NES time. Basically, any MS export Namco ever shat out got an NES version, and Galaxian is one of the better releases.
Hands down, no exception, this is the best version of Galaxian that ever got released. Sorry, liberals, but it's the truth.
This port was first released 5 whole years after the arcade release. It understandably manages to play nearly perfectly when compared to the arcade. The graphics are on point, the sound is quite close to the original, and I argue the game logic is better than the arcade. The hitboxes in the original are incredibly wacky at times, and the NES version fixes that. It feels more fair and fun to play compared to the arcade, at least to me. For once, the NES version of a Namco game is better than the arcade version. Am I dreaming?
No.
Next, it wouldn't be a ports video if we didn't cheat a little. My Arcade is a shit company that produces shitty products, and one of those terrible products is the Namco Museum Mini Player that was released in 2019 for a retail price of... Wait. Oh my god, you're joking. It's $130? Are you fucking kidding me?
Hey, look, it's me in 2021. This was meant to be a recurring character. Maybe. If I really cared.
Yep, that's the place. Ow! Damn it, FedEx! Okay, come on. Keep professional. My friend Hella CIA on Discord bought one of these a while ago and has informed me that the emulation for Galaxian was, to put it bluntly, atrocious. He provided footage for this video, which you're seeing right now, and it's incredible how awful it looks and plays. The game runs at half the speed of the arcade version, and to be honest, you need to see it to believe it. From My Arcade uses Android hardware, and given the Galaxian is one of the simplest Namco games to emulate ever released, it's outright inexcusable. At least My Arcade seems to be heading on a better path with their Space Invaders and Street Fighter II mini cabinets playing quite well, but that's spoiling a future video, so let's...
Mini Arcades was a video that I teased for a solid 2 months and never made. Mini Arcades is never happening. I'm never going back to it because I honestly don't want to spend the time recording a bunch of shitty mini arcade cabinets just to say, miniature arcade machine. The only one that was notable that I technically bought for that video was the Astro City Mini, which is a really, really cool system. Has a bunch of really cool Sega arcade games on it. Really cool system, actually. But we're not ever going to talk about it, so L Ratio, you fell off.
For now. Next up, the DOS port, which I really should have brought up when covering the Pac-Man.
Funny fact, I'm using a really bad version of this game because I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get it running at a proper 4.77 megahertz, and neither could this guy, so he ran it slow in DOSBox.
The ColecoVision, I remember
That's all that has to be said about that version of the game. It looks bad, plays bad, and is bad.
the ColecoVision, and said ColecoVision has one of the best ports of Galaxian we've seen so far.
Are you shitting me? Are you saying words that you comprehend?
The sound is pretty good, the graphics are pretty close, and the gameplay is quite solid. It for sure works better than the Atari versions, and while some herald this port as arcade perfect, which is definitely debatable, it's damn close. And for
Some being one guy on a forum I found while I was researching for this video.
1983, that's impressive. Next, it's time to talk Commodore. Classic 8-bit home computers are something I've never tackled on this channel before.
I probably will never tackle again.
So I think the VIC-20 port of Galaxian is a good spring point. Before we talk about this port, you should try to keep in mind the VIC-20 was about as powerful as a wet towel, so this game isn't going to look or sound very good. With that in mind, this game is actually one of the most playable ports in this video.
I say some really stupid things.
The controls work great, the game runs at a fine speed, but sadly the visuals kinda stink. Once again, this is the VIC-20, which could hardly run a word processor, let alone video games. And with that, it's actually pretty great.
Yeah, I say a lot of really dumb things in this video thinking about it. There's no way this version plays that well. I was really tired of this type of video at this point, but was only making it out of obligation.
Galaxian has been a mainstay on Namco Museum releases since the third volume was released on PlayStation in 1996. That same Namco Museum release is actually quite impressive for its time, being pretty much arcade perfect.
I had to leave the PlayStation startup in. I mean...
Unlike its sequel Galaga's release on the first volume, there are no low-quality sound issues to be seen here. I was fully ready to give this port a lashing, but shockingly, it's pretty solid.
I believe that this is on the same disc as well, which is just what's so weird. No, it's not. It's not.
Impressed, honestly.
This is on Volume 3.
Continuing on a CD-based console tangent, let's discuss a console that's lived its entire life in infamy. Philips is an electronics giant that was founded in 1891, and for almost 100 years they were riding high with no video game-related mistakes. But then the CEO decided he wanted to do something really funny and then shat out the CDI in 1990. This CD-based games console is infamous for its incredibly low-quality library with the likes of Zelda Wand of Gamelon, Hotel Mario, and the eternal classic
Link that faces of evil.
I didn't even try to sentence mix.
But hey,
so, the one interesting thing about this segment of the video in particular is the Philips CDI emulator I used had a 15-minute time limit for the free version.
no matter how shit your original games are, surely you can't go wrong with some classic arcade games. Well, if you're thinking that, you'd be woefully, woefully wrong. The European exclusive CDI compilation, unimpressively named Arcade Classics, contains 3 classic Namco arcade ports. I really wish I had found out about this game when making the Galaga video.
Direct MSX port, by the way, no one cares.
Released. It's got primitive graphics and stats.
I swear to God, everything in this video is real. The name of this console sounds like I'm just pulling words out of my ass.
While on the topic of obscure game consoles, the Galaxian port to the Bally Astrocade is interesting to say the least.
I promise you, the Bally Astrocade is real. You can play this version of the game on MAME. The Bally Astrocade got maybe 2 games, and most of them were edutainment. This is it. I hope the video game critic had good opinions, because I'm not looking at them.
It's got primitive graphics and sound, but controls alright, and while the number of aliens on screen is more than half of the arcade, it still controls and looks fine. I guess Galaxian is just an easy game to get right.
I think you just have really bad script writing standards. I talk about the Game Boy version and say the same things I've said in the entire video. This was the last arcade ports video I made, I think. If I were to go to the playlist, do I have... I think I keep this playlist up to date. Yes, I do, and it's the only... You can actually click that to find that video. Okay. Yes, this is the last Weird Ports saga episode. That would be because at this point the format was really not that good, because it was either this port is really bad or this port is playable, and I didn't really have anything more to say on the matter. What should be considered an episode of this is the highlight of my night, a look at the Namco Museum series featuring Internet Ivan. Hi, Ivan. I know you're watching this video because you love me and you don't want to admit it. Nah, it's kind of a mutual hatred at this point. He we have issues. We've been very much against each other for a good amount of time. He has clout. I won't deny it. He has clout, and it's why I haven't like outright said, "Hey, go fuck yourself" in the video, except for when I did. But we're not going to talk about that because that was when he was being a little dick. So yeah, he does actually get clout. Uh, Good on him, I guess. I don't care. What he does is really generic like gaming person video. This is all he does is these stupid like gaming content, like fake I don't know, just fake gamer content. And I mean, look, man, he does his thing, and why he's popular was his Nintendo 3DS hacking video guides. I am a pretty respected member, I'd like to think, of the Nintendo Homebrew Discord server, and that means I have a pretty significant knowledge on Nintendo 3DS hacking. It's was kind of my thing for a few years, and I know a lot about it. His video guides were downright dangerous. His video guides were horrible, and they were very much a headache to deal with whenever people came in asking for help because he didn't do shit right. Whenever he needed to make a video and something broke, he came straight to us and never credited us when we helped him fix his stupid problems. And he's overall not a very well respected member of the homebrew community. If you're a member of the homebrew community, if you're an outsider, you're like, oh, this guy must be pretty smart. He's not. Everything he's ever said in a video relating to 3DS hacking, he stole from someone else. On the topic, we've been on and off friendly enemies, basically. At points, we hated each other. At points, we collaborated. Ergo. At one point, I was going to appear in a video for 30 seconds talking about video game movies, and I was like, wait, this isn't a video I want to be in. I want out. He said, no, because you're already in it. So I was like, you're going to take me out of the video, or I'm going to basically, you know, I'm gonna kick your ass. I don't think he ever he did upload the video, I want to say, but it is actually here. This was the video that I was originally in, and I wanted out because I didn't like what he was saying and how he was treating friends. Internet Ivan is a transphobic person, and he is friends with extremely edgelordy 14-year-old transphobes who have caused personal friends of mine to be stuck in a voice call crying because his friends were consistently just insulting, berating, and being completely horrible people to them. So, obviously, when I found out about that and the fact that he wasn't willing to stop it, I said, hey, take me out of the video. I don't want to be represented by you. This was after this video had been made, I want to say. So, I was like, out. I don't want it anymore. We're done. He said no. I upload a video saying, hey, he's about to upload a video I'm not wanting to be in. Go scream at him to the 2 consistent viewers I had. He did acquiesce and remove me from the video, so respect there. And after this, we basically stopped communicating with each other because we both hate each other's guts, and multiple occasions we've ended up accidentally talking to each other or running into each other on the homebrew server and basically exchanging thoughts of you suck, you suck. It's petty drama, but I hate him for the stuff that he did to my friend and his general company, and the fact that honestly his content is really derivative of other stuff on the internet. Obviously it's working for him, so whatever, dude. Bring in the dough, bring in the shit. But fucking get content of your own, please. Stop. Like, this is just every YouTube video, every internet shitty person. His input on this video is extremely minor. He appears during a segment. I give him a shout at the end of the video. It didn't do anything for me. This was the lowest rated, this was the lowest growing, very, very much the worst video on the channel in terms of growth that I actually put effort into. And it made me realize that there was no point in doing collaborations with bigger channels unless I really wanted to be in the video with them. This was a video he was shoehorned into, basically, as a trade for the other one. So his segment is the Game Boy Advance version, which he claims to be super nostalgic about. One of the most prolific arcade game manufacturers of all time, responsible for Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, Rally X, and countless other potential video topics.
But what if you don't want to pump a quarter into an old pizza place's arcade corner every time you want your Super Pac-Man fixed? For a while there, Namco's go-to solution were the
Have.
home ports. These varied pretty heavily in quality and console, but overall did their job pretty well. But as technology advanced into the PS1 era, proper source ports and emulation were finally a prospect for arcade ports, and companies ran with this PS1. But the most notable manufacturing beginnings weren't spectacular.
So I am actually okay with my part of this video. I did good. He didn't. We'll go into that.
Only 2 are widely available in the US for cheap, even though 5 of the 6 were released here, those being Volume 1 and 3. And for good reason too, as these discs consist of some of the most popular games from Namco's history. Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian, Dig Dug, and Pole Position are easily the highlights of these 2 discs. However, the other 4 discs also have some solid games, Xevious, Gapless, and Mappy, just to name a few. These PS1 compilations are unique as they are some of the most faithful ports of the arcade games you can get, period. Namco ported all of these games to the PS1 based off their original source code, which means there's no emulation-based quirks to be found. These are the authentic arcade experiences through and through, and for extra bonus points, you can even flip your monitor over for some classic tape mode action for games that support it. I wouldn't do this with an actual CRT though, you could damage it. While Volume 6, known as Encore, never came to the West, all of these are great ways to experience Namco history, though you really only need Volumes 1 and 3. Those have the best of Namco's arcade history, and are dirt cheap.
They are very much some of the most common PlayStation 1 games. The PS1 is not mentioned further because I just talk about the rest of the series, but we're going to watch the video because that's the gimmick of the stream.
PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, Namco outsourced the brand to a porting and emulation house called Mass Media, who handled many of...
I'm going on a tangent now. There's a scrap video script I'm never finishing relating to this. Galaga, right? Big video game, big fan of it. There are 2 distinct versions of that game. There is the regular arcade ROM, and then there's a version of the game that's broken. And Mass Media is, as far as I'm concerned, responsible for it when they ported the PS1 game to the N64. Mass Media created a really shoddy port of Galaga and broke the logic to where normally Stage 4 has a different layout, and it's the third main layout the game uses for its load-in. It's the third pattern, basically. That doesn't show up until Stage 7 on the Mass Media and later versions. It is a toss-up as to which version of Galaga you're going to be getting at this point. If it's a Namco thing, you are more than likely going... Like, a Namco-developed thing, you are more than likely getting the original version of the game. Arcade 1-Up runs the broken version from Mass Media. A couple other ports of Galaga have had to toss up between the original version and the old version. I think At Games has the original, and other times they don't. It's a really weird thing, and they are responsible for the weird split in versions.
The console releases for this generation. Namco Museum on the GameCube and PS2 marked a turn to straight emulation for the series as opposed to porting from source, which is probably cheaper but can lead to weird quirks. This game doesn't play the games half badly in terms of logic and graphics, but the sound kinda stinks, and in general there are far better ways to play these games on these platforms. Namely, Namco Museum 50th Anniversary. This packs a huge body...
This is just emulation, I don't know why, I think it's better.
...count of Namco classics, including some oft-forgotten picks like Pac-Mania and Galaga 88, all emulated to a decently well...
Galaga 88.
Namco Museum 50 was handled by Digital Eclipse, and it emulates the games pretty well. But the graphics are very squished looking, and the options don't do much to mitigate this. This is because they fit the vertical games to the PS2's video output of 640 by 480.
While I show the GameCube version.
Overall, though, you really can't go wrong with this release.
Furthermore, the PS2 didn't output at a clean 480p like that. It had weird squash, and it was different resolution. I think it was like... I don't remember. Fun part time. The handheld tangent, otherwise known as the part that I'm good in, and the part that he shows up in.
Handheld deviation. Namco Museum has a solid few excursions on handhelds, and to talk about them, I'd like to welcome Internet Ivan to the stage.
I'd like to kill myself, but I can't do that either.
Ivan?
So, what Ivan did, I told him, hey, I need you to send me voiceover and related clips for the video. He took a good amount of time to send me the voiceover. I didn't care, I wasn't in a rush. But he told me he wanted to redo it when the video had already exported, or it was like something had already been done. He was like, hey, I need to redo this. And I was like, fine. Because once again, I wasn't in a rush. He redoes it. I don't know what he changed. The original take was fine. I don't even want to play his segment because, as stated prior, this is an unlisted video that I don't particularly care about. All he does is talk about his shitty little Game Boy Advance obsession. He's like, oh, but the Game Boy Advance version is like so nostalgic and good. He's like, doesn't know what he's talking about in any sense, and I regret having him on for this video just because he has no clue what the fuck he's saying. He just does not know what he's talking about. Oh, also, he also was like, hey, I got gameplay footage for you. It's just him playing his unbacklit GBA in front of his camera, and it's completely unusable, but, you know, that doesn't matter. So I basically say, hey, you're a complete idiot, don't know what you're talking about at this part. And he does reappear at the DS port. Shit, I forgot. It's a shame, because Namco Museum DS is great.
If you probably ever played, all of the bundled games run and play exactly as you'd expect, with one really unfortunate flaw that's out of M2's control. You have to play them on DS.
Yeah, M2 friggin' rocked this collection.
The DS version.
Shut up. No one cares. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell.
This game's controls can cramp me up on an original DS. That shouldn't distract you from the sheer quality you get.
I basically am just like, hey, M2 is awesome.
From this museum release. It's amazing.
That is not the conclusion. I talk about one more port by myself.
Overall, the Namco museums that came to Nintendo handhelds are shockingly some Xbox 360 ROM that brought a whopping 34 games on one disc. This game is unique because it actually bundles a mix of original emulations and Xbox Live Arcade releases on the same disc.
Another fun fact about this is talking about Namco Museum Virtual Collection for the Xbox 360. The game is not backwards compatible on 360, but if you insert the disc into a backwards compatible like an Xbox One, you can actually download the Xbox Live Arcade games on the disc to your Xbox. You have to have the disc in to play them, but you can play the Xbox Live Arcade games. You can't play the emulated ones, but you can play the Xbox Live Arcade bundled ones just because of how Xbox Live Arcade games on disc work, and I think that's really cool.
Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and Galaga, among a few other games, are actually the Live Arcade versions, which is something I've always found odd. They emulate the vast majority of available games on this disc, but just decided to use the pre-existing Live Arcade releases for the ones that
Which is fine, because the Live Arcade versions are the original arcade ROMs.
were eligible. Was it really that hard to just emulate the other games? The emulation for the
Why are you
games
bitching?
referred to as museum games is pretty decent. The screen size is a bit small for my liking, but
I love Galaga 88. Galaga 88 is awesome.
all the games look, control, and sound fine. The Xbox Live Arcade games bundled all work as you'd expect. Overall, this is a really cheap collection, but you get a ton of games on one pretty cheap disc. While it's not Xbox One backwards compatible, if you can play it, I wholeheartedly recommend.
Yeah, as stated prior, there is some like not truth to that statement of it not being backwards compatible. The game disc is not. The Xbox Live Arcade games are.
Recommendations, we have the magnum opus of Namco Museum.
This is one of the greatest things ever created by man.
The unoriginally named Namco Museum released on the Nintendo Switch in 2017. This is the closest any Namco Museum release has ever gotten to arcade perfect.
Is my controller not
Game
working? There we
selection
go.
has a few of the shoe-ins like Pac-Man, Galaga, and Dig Dug, however also has its fair share of deep cuts. Games like Rolling Thunder 1 and 2, Galaga 88, Tank Force, which is actually a sequel to Battle City, and the ever-incredible Splatterhouse are included too. Every game looks and plays incredibly, and while the collection is a bit overpriced at $40 US, it is a pretty widely available physical bundle with Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 Plus and often
At the time of recording, I haven't seen that bundle in years.
goes on sale. It's a no-brainer for any arcade fan, new or old. It's absolutely the best you can get.
Yeah, this is a beautiful port. End of video. Ivan talks at this point. I don't like him. And while I know that he's either going to watch this video, because I know for a fact he still like keeps up with this channel because he's petty. He's either gonna watch this, which I doubt. And if he gets mad at me, that's gonna be funny, because free speech, and also you deserve it. But you know, whatever, man. Maybe next time when you're asking to collab, or when I ask, I mean, I was the one that asked to do this. I won't say that like I'm not responsible. I'm saying that I should have considered my options more, and maybe you should stop being friends with a bunch of edgy transphobes and stop enabling them in your server. Just saying. Taiko no Tatsujin in the West. We're gonna get off Ivan for now. Ivan is done. If you're seeing this at this point, goddamn, bring it over.
If you ask
Of course I use Megalovania. What do you think I am? Taiko no Tatsujin in the West is one of the most viewed videos on the channel because Taiko fans are awesome. And there's a lot of Taiko love in this comment section, which is awesome. Except for this guy, who's a hater for no reason, but he has an Azumanga Daioh profile picture, so like I can't hate him. Now highlights include an Namco original song that nobody knows unless they play Taiko for a while. Well, how about you shut up? Nah, that's funny memes. I'm sorry, person. You're cool. Please don't hate me. No. Didn't say it right.
Premier rhythm game series and involves hitting a massive drum to the notes on screen. It's a pretty easy game to learn, involving at most 4 buttons. Thus, the difficulty comes from the complexity of the song charts. While I'll probably never touch high-level play, I'm not awful at the game either, but that's...
Oh, I am so bad.
Debatable. But while the series is commonplace in Japan, its releases have been incredibly sparse in the West, with only 6 home releases coming over in the past 18 years. This is in stark comparison with Japan, which has had releases for nearly every home console in the past 10 years. The PSP, Vita, Wii, Wii U, PS4, and more have all gotten versions.
So of these, at this point of recording, I have played this version, and that's it on screen. I've played the Switch versions of the games, I've played the 3DS versions of the games, I've played the Vita versions, and the games pictured in this video. Of which one of them is one I have physically.
While the US specifically was stuck with a single entry on the PS2 for over 10 years.
Yep. It's a really funny version of the game, though.
In 2004, Namco decided to...
Why did I use Drum and Fun footage?
...a fully original game titled Taiko Drum Master. Similar to how Konami handled their PS2 releases of Dance Dance Revolution, Namco filled the song list with lots of American pop and rock music. We will get to this fact later.
What was that weird
edit? The game itself plays just like a regular Taiko game, no shock there. You hit the face buttons for your red notes and the shoulders for your blue notes. Red Octane provided a drum for the PS2 version, but I don't have that because I'm not rich.
Red Octane. We're going to talk about... I'm not actually going to watch Guitar Hero tonight because that video literally just came out. Red Octane being mentioned here is a funny call forward, though. The last video we'll be watching tonight is End of an Era 3DS, so we have a couple more videos.
The game plays just as well with the DualShock 2.
Yep, sure does.
Okay, so...
Taiko Drum Master PS2. Greatest game of all time.
Might just be the weirdest rhythm game I've played in my life.
I've played way weirder.
It plays perfectly fine and feels pretty great on the DualShock 2, so
the weirdest rhythm game I've played in my life is Guitar Star on the plug-and-play console.
Can't complain there.
With the Popstar Guitar being a second.
The insane selection of songs had me rolling in laughter basically the entirety of my 45-minute recording.
Yeah, this is the funniest game I've ever sat down to record. It was just a blast going through this game's god-awful set list. Because this game came out after, like, Guitar Hero had made rhythm games with covers popular. This is before I got into Guitar Hero, I made this video. And what's funny about that is, well, they tried to do it with Taiko, the game which is very much a Japanese-inspired rhythm game, and I just thought that was really funny.
The list really doesn't sell how hilarious it is until you pop it into your system. With classics like Toxic by Britney Spears, Girls and Boys by Blur, yes... Blur.
Laugh.
Killer Queen by Queen.
I call back to Blur in the Guitar Hero video.
Poorly, and Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves.
I hate this song so fucking much. Walking on Sunshine is one of the worst songs ever put to tape.
It's a song that makes me want to jump into a vat of acid, being some of the top bills on the soundtrack.
I want to say on script that was Jump Out a Window, and I changed it last second because I didn't want it to sound weird.
But this is just the pop and rock section's funny songs.
Oh, yeah.
They have a TV section consisting of an insanely massive 2 whole songs. What do you think they picked? I'll give you 5 seconds.
Genesis.
Wrong. It's Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah. I love that fucking picture I use.
Wrong. It's Jimmy...
God, I love that shit. I love that picture so much.
Jimmy Neutron. You get Rock the Dragon and the Jimmy Neutron theme song by Bowling for Soup. Both are pretty good songs and all.
Jimmy Neutron.
Never deserved, it's this. Aside from that, some Namco songs come along for the ride, mostly being alright. You've got Brave Sword, Braver Soul from Soul Calibur 2, Ridge Racer, and Katamari on the Rocks.
You know, something I just noticed is that this game doesn't have the note names under the notes. In most Taiko games, they say Don and Ka under the red and blue notes, and this game doesn't do that. What it does do is for drum rolls. There's a drum roll. Yeah, see, it says it's for drum roll, so it's obviously like something they just removed. Weird.
You've got Brave Sword, Braver Soul from Soul Calibur 2, Ridge Racer, and Katamari on the Rocks. But that's not all you get from the Namco originals. By playing through the game normally, you'll unlock some extra songs. Ridge Racer and a few other video game songs are part of this, but the real comedy comes in with the Namco originals that are unlockable. You get Taiko March, a pretty average March song I'll never play again for clearing 5 songs. But the real comedy comes in with the song Dawn Rangers. For clearing 10 songs, you get an entirely Japanese tokusatsu opening parody song that feels completely out of place with the rest of Now.
I wish I had elaborated on what that meant. This is my favorite visual gag in all of the channel, by the way. I love this shitty fucking picture.
That's what I call Taiko 2004. So the song selection sucks, but that's not all the game has to offer. The game also includes a grand total of 3 mini-games, which are as follows. Watermelon Eating Contest challenges you to get carpal tunnel by mashing the face buttons while avoiding Tetsuo's attempted assault and battery.
His name is still just Tetsuo, by the way. They like half localized this game and half didn't. It's weird. The manual calls all of the characters by their Japanese names, but the game is dubbed in English. But they don't try to localize it. It's weird.
Too hard, but my wrists hate me for even trying it.
I'd have rather they
Fireworks
localized
Festival
it. Would have been
lets you press
funny.
Circle to launch fireworks and R1 to kick away bombs. Why this stupid turtle is attempting to bomb us is beyond me. And finally, we have reached the helicopter, which is bad. You have to use L1 and R1 to balance a stack of infinite dog wadas so they can escape the Vietnam War via helicopter. At least, I think that's what's happening. Dog Wada's probably committed at least 12 war crimes, so it probably fits.
No, I have no idea why I put do not allow dog Wada into Venezuela there, but I think it's funny.
Ways to illustrate how absolutely insane this game is to show the opening. Despite the rest of the game being completely dubbed in English, this is a Japanese song with subtitles.
Wait, hang on. I'm getting my copy of the game out for my shelf real quick, because I don't remember if it has the Japanese logo on it. The logo for the game. It does actually have that. Yes, it does. Okay. I didn't know that. Good to know, I guess. What the shit fell off my shelf. But yeah, it does in fact have the Japanese logo on the box. Okay. Why?
It fits the Taiko no
It says Taiko no Tatsujin.
Not this game. It's a weird
Tatsujin,
thing, illustrates the
Tatsujins,
love of movie half and
Jink
half
Jeans.
game fit the West. They added tons of American songs and dubbed the game, but didn't change any names or try to explain the Matsuri setting.
Just say festival, you fucking weeb. It's like, the Matsuri, say festival. Say festival, it's not that hard. Trust me, no one calls it Matsuri in America. Oh my god.
It's one of the strangest games I've ever
I forgot to
played,
deinterlace the
and it
footage.
sold
No.
ass. With these numbers, I suppose it's
Yeah, this game fucked.
surprising that Namco didn't bother to bring a single Taiko game to the West until 2018. So, it's been 14 years since Taiko Drum Master. Wait, fun fact. They brought Taiko Drum Master to Japan with the same exact song selection a year later. And it
No source for this. I looked it up later, and I just had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. I think I sourced this for some random... I think it was the Wikipedia page?
sold worse. Shocking, I know. Anyways, after 14 years, Namco finally decided, sure, let's try this again. Namco translated and released Taiko Nintendo Switch Edition and... another game in the US in 2018.
I'm sorry, I like my stupid old YouTube level gags. They're funny.
Note how I say translated here, as for all intents and purposes, these are the exact same games as their Japanese counterparts, just in English. We'll start with Nintendo Switch Edition, renamed to Drum and Fun when it was brought to the West.
There is an argument to be made that they should have done more with these, but
This game has
They
online
didn't.
play, which works fairly well, as well as a much better song list compared to Drum Master. Not like that was a high bar to begin with. Highlights include Soryu no Ran, A Cruel Angel Ceases, Pac Toy Box from Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, Ridge Racer, and the PlayStation 2 game opening.
which is the worst way I could have phrased that, because it's not that song, it's another song.
There's a lot, and I mean a lot of DLC for this game, as well as its PS4 counterpart Drum Session. So if you really like paying for songs, I have the game for you. What
It
this
is pretty
game has that
excessive.
elevates it from good Taiko game to hilarious Taiko game is the motion controller option. By using 2 Joy-Cons, you can obliterate your forearms while playing considerably worse than you would normally.
Second time I appear on camera on the channel. I'm going to mention that this show is something I've seen pretty much in full, and it is over 1,000 episodes long, and I still refuse to watch One Piece. And I don't say it's because it's too long, because I have no goddamn words to speak about when I've watched a show that's technically longer by 100 episodes. It's funny because it's a cover, they wouldn't have copyrighted me, but you know what?
As you can see,
Ba-dum. It's me playing the song with the god-awful motion controls. I'm gonna do this because I need to share this video with more people. Detective Conan movie summary funny. Please show up. I'm looking for this one specific video and I'm not finding it. It's okay, we don't need to talk about the fandom for that show. It's kind of the worst thing ever. There's this very funny video created by somebody. Alright, there we go. Fixed.
it does right. Drum rolls are hell on this.
This one guy just makes like the outright greatest summary of the Conan movies ever made. It's so funny. It's really only funny if you like watch the show, but it's so well done. If I can ever find it, I'll put it in the description of the split part of the stream because I plan on re-uploading these parts of the videos where I'm talking about them.
I hate it.
I hate it too. Check out my Xbox, guys. I don't recommend Detective Conan, by the way.
Fun also includes considerably more minigames, and they're all pretty fun. They're all meant for 4 players, but since I'm not getting my friends to play fucking Taiko with me anytime soon,
I should've.
I had to play them alone. They're a really good way to try to fill the void of no new Rhythm Heaven game while you cry yourself to sleep over the lack of no new Rhythm Heaven games.
Hey, Nintendo.
Nintendo. Please?
Rhythm Heaven game, please?
As for Drum Session on PS4, I don't own it. From the looks of it, it's pretty similar to Drum and Fun, so I'm good.
Write that down.
On the topic, the latest games to hit the West are new re-releases of older games.
This video was created in 2022 before Drum Master and Taiko Rhythm Festival came out. That'll be a depressing video to make.
2 Taiko RPGs in Japan, and when they were ported to Switch, the US got them too.
Footage! Where is it? Thank you.
Name of Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure 1 and 2.
They had translatable names. They were just called Danshan and Katsuchan's Time Travel Adventure and just Dokodon Mystery Adventure. I don't know why they didn't just translate those, but...
Drum and Fun had a lot of effort put into its English presentation, while Rhythm...
Hey, I'm talking just completely out of my ass in this part of the video, by the way, so...
Firstly, feels like it was slapped together in a weekend.
Just like Drum and Fun did, but okay.
RPGs are good, if a little boring. But I personally bought these games for the regular Taiko gameplay.
Because you're a fucking idiot.
For full price, aren't I a loser?
Yes.
The selection improves on some of the issues with Drum and Fun. Parts of the games honestly feel unfinished.
I'm with you on that one, honestly.
I can dress my character up as a complete and utter idiot if I want. It's just part of this game feel.
Look at this just horrific gameplay.
If you want the adventure mode,
yeah,
sure,
nice note miss.
But for anything else, wait for a sale or get Drum and Fun. The Taiko Switch games are pretty regularly going on sale for upwards of 75% of their retail price, and for those prices, I'd say these games are pretty worth it.
Yeah, Taiko games on Switch go on sale a lot. It's definitely worth it for Drum and Fun. These games are a little more iffy. The first game has really good Vocaloid tracks. The second game has no good tracks, and they even out.
Wait, I lied. There's also the Apple Arcade Taiko game under the name
Which I didn't record footage for. It's just Drum and Fun.
But I did try it once on a free trial and came to the conclusion that it was an enjoyable game.
It's just mobile Taiko.
Which works alright, but I have enough ways to play Taiko as is.
Yeah.
Come on, this video needs to end at some point.
This video is a 10-minute long, like, brief overview. I probably am hated in the 10,000 maybe people who like Taiko because I overlook everything. And I'm an idiot and I'm bad at the game. Why do I use Galaga music?
Taiko finally has a foothold in the US, with Drum and Fun hitting 1 million sold units as of 2019. Obviously, the series is far from mainstream over here, but it isn't doing too bad.
Hey, where's your goddamn footage?
I'm excited to see what's in.
Yeah, this video was released before they announced Taiko on Xbox. It was really goddamn bad, so, rest in peace, I guess. The Switch game was pretty good when it came out, and the Taiko Pass for $3 a month or something like that, if not even less, is just wow. So many good songs on there. All right, on to the video that killed the channel. Sysnet PC was a passion project that I didn't do right, and this is the last time I ever did the traditional format of black screen images. We have two. Is this one in the next video? So it'll be done in the next like 30 minutes. This video has issues. Quite a few actually. I like this song.
My name, I have a pretty significant interest in older technology.
This is true.
While it really does hurt to say this, with Windows XP being over 20 years old, it's beginning to reach that point where its best games and software are too old to work well on modern Windows.
It really isn't, but like I wanted an XP tower.
But too intensive to run in most virtual machines without a hitch. This is why I set out on a quest. A quest to find a
I wonder what the tower looks like.
Easily upgrade for everything Windows XP related. This quest took me to a place I often find myself, the Shop Goodwill auction website.
This website has gone to complete shit since I made this video. Everything is either absurdly overpriced or absurdly overpriced. There's no in between.
Here, Goodwills across the country list products for dumbasses like me to buy from the comfort of their own homes. What's nice is you can get these said products shipped to you for the low fee of... While I normally peruse this website in search of video games, often with other people in a Discord call, I suddenly remember my desire for an
Oh my god, $13 for an eMac? Oh, why didn't I jump on that?
To stumble blindly into the computer section of the website. I was in a call with a few friends, and upon stumbling upon an unassuming tower, I was looking for a Dell of some sort and glossed over it. One of them yelled,
"Oh my god, it's a set piece."
Jade, by the way, they go by Jade now.
D.
They yelled it, but I asked them to record it for me, and they just put the microphone and talk normally. Thanks, Jade.
Placed a bid immediately and won for $10 plus 20 in shipping.
Paid only $30 for the thing.
Later, the PC arrives at my door. Meet the Sysnet Windows XP machine, or as I've affectionately dubbed it, the Syshead.
Because it's funny. I don't know why it's called that. I think it's really funny.
It was a messy time getting it up and running, but it's currently totally working. Here's the story.
About a boy named Brady. Yeah, this video has major issues with its production. You might notice the black screen.
Upon getting the machine in the mail, by the way, sorry for the freehand footage, that really sucks. My tripod's broken at the moment.
You might notice how when I pay attention to this video, you see a lot of goddamn nothing on the screen. That's because this video is like 75, it's like 65% blank screen. I had nothing to put on screen for this video, and I should have been appearing on camera or just recording shit to put on screen. This is the last time I've ever done that. 3DS, I do it like once, but 3DS is a lot different. That's the last video we're watching tonight, and I have a lot to say about that video because I think it's amazing.
To the world, a few observations were immediately made. One, it was nowhere near as dusty as I was expecting. Hell, it's cleaner than my main PC.
It
Two,
was at the
lacking
time.
the hard drive. That last point was annoying, but I came prepared with a spare 1 terabyte drive I set apart for the
Check that IDE DVD drive. God damn it, why'd they do it like that?
project.
They had like 6 SATA ports on the board. Why did Sysnet kit their computer like that?
I don't need to buy anything extra. After inspecting a few other things with the PC, I began the process of inserting the hard drive. It was then I learned that I fucking suck at putting in hard drives. Long story short,
I fucked up the hard drive.
too much pressure was applied to the data port on the drive while trying to get it into position, and
I had left a zip tie unplugged and was trying to deal with it, and in the process of trying to keep the hard drive in place, I just went, and it's gone now. So rest in peace, hard drive.
so that sucks. I could probably fix it if I really wanted to, but honestly, I'm not in the mood. Thankfully, I had a drive I could easily borrow from my main PC and use here. It's a laptop drive, same capacity, but not as fast at 5200 RPM compared to the 7200 RPM I plan to use.
Didn't matter
I
in the
just kinda
slightest.
plugged it in and threw it in the spare 3.5-inch bag.
And that's where it lives to this very day. I have yet to mount it, I've yet to find a good place for it. It just lives in the 3.5-inch bay until I care enough to fix it.
I'll mount
Which is
it
never.
probably at some point, but I just wanted to get the thing working beforehand.
I'm very lazy with my
Hard drive
computers.
inserted, I was ready to give the machine a boot to see if everything was working. I pressed power and...
So, I had a computer shipped to me through the mail. What's the first thing you normally do when you have a computer shipped in the mail? That's right, you don't reseat the RAM.
Moment of truth.
No. Reseat every movable part when you get a computer, by the way, especially one which hasn't been packed properly. I have since had another computer shipped in the mail, and I had to reseat every single card in the computer and the RAM and the hard drive for it to post. Windows 98 computers are just such a nice thing.
Yeah, 3 beeps, jack shit on the monitor. Some quick Googling and me being smart.
I get the inkling it's a memory issue, but I'm not 100%.
You're
showed
100%.
that it was a memory issue. I went in and checked the RAM and noticed one of the clips was undone. In hindsight, I probably should have just reseated the memory from the start, but I didn't. So, no shock, the PC didn't boot after reclipping the clip.
Welcome to the
Can't
void.
Entering the PC and fully reseating the RAM. Something funny that my complete dumbass forgot to get on camera happened during this process. As, when I undid both clips, the stick literally flew directly out of the slot. Really, really mad I stopped filming at that point.
Nobody wants to watch a video that's black screen. Nobody wants to watch a black screen, and I just kind of forgot that like that's a really uninteresting thing. If this had been someone else's video, I'd have clicked off by now, and that's why this video got 100 views, and that's after a year of being live. And most people were complaining that yes, this video was shit edit-wise. The content itself is fine. The script is clean, the VO is clean, everything is fine. This video, I don't want to finish because there's nothing particularly notable about it. Because it's literally just, hey, I accidentally full format the drive and complain about it. Black screen, benchmarks, and I'm playing Unreal Tournament 2004 for the rest of the video. It's not a good video, objectively. It's staying up because I have no reason to take it down. When I make the follow-up video for this, which is still, like, maybe going to happen, it's going to be, if it even happens at all, because honestly I don't feel like making the video. It will obviously have me on camera, because at this point I appear on camera in videos, but it's just not, this isn't a good video, I'm sorry. So with that said, I don't think we need to keep watching, because this video in and of itself isn't the best, and I want to talk about the big one. End of an era Nintendo 3DS, otherwise known as, apparently this is what I should be focusing on my entire channel on, which is kind of what I'm doing. End of an era 3DS was, in all intents and purposes, a last resort for the channel, because I didn't really want to make any videos anymore. And I was like, I wanted to make this video. So I was like, okay, I'll put a shot into the dark, see how this does. Because I was getting kind of sick of making what is effectively the same video over and over again. So I was like, I'm going to redo my entire format and make a completely different type of video. I would be willing to bet that, yeah, it paid off. This video skyrocketed in views within the first couple hours, as stated prior, because the Scott DeWant's video came out right then and there. And as a result, this video got insane traction. And it's really... I'm really proud of this video. I'm super happy with how it turned out. Everything I think I say is really good. And there are a couple things I want to comment on in this video.
Yeah, I get this is low light as hell, but
shit.
there's no need to put the flash on. Anyways, something, Nintendo 3DS.
It's funny August seems to be the month for me. Because when I first uploaded Whipped Cream Gamer, it was in August. Technically, Initial D Games was August as well. Or was it October? It was either August or October. It was October. But August is like an upload date for me. I do a lot of stuff in August.
Hello and welcome to a new segment I'd like to call The End of an Era. The premise of this show is pretty simple.
By the way, same shirt.
Hardware and software that was the last of its kind, while sharing my memories with it along the way. In this inaugural episode, we'll be taking a look at what might be Nintendo's final fully featured handheld console, and the final hurrah of the Nintendo DS line, the Nintendo 3DS. Let's get started.
So yes, this video is very much a different beast to what remained of the content. I believe it was my longest. Yeah, it was my longest video. It was my longest video up until Guitar Hero, which I believe this does actually take the cake for the longest fully edited video I've ever made. I've done longer before, but it's not that particularly extreme. This video went really well though.
Let's set the scene. In 2004,
That's the line.
Nintendo launched the DS, a so-called third pillar to their hardware lineup, alongside the GameCube and GBA. Yeah, no. Well, it took a while. The DS took off far beyond what gamers and
doing this has taught me that I've improved significantly on voiceover. I stumble over my words a lot and don't in the early videos. By this point, and by Guitar Hero, I'm like nailing it. Shit.
Nintendo expected, far outselling the GBA just within its first couple years on the market. The sales were only compounded with the launch of the DS Lite in 2006. The line was riding high, and with the release of the more Wii-like DSi in 2008,
Why is such a low res copy of the
fans
video?
had more than enough to be satiated for a long time. And then Nintendo pulled a Nintendo. In March
Black
2010,
screen, but
Nintendo
it's only on
released the
screen for a
Nintendo
couple
3DS,
seconds.
albeit in name and concept only. It was a successor to the DS line, with an obvious emphasis on stereoscopic, glasses-free 3D. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to capture that on camera, huh?
Nintendo had experimented with 3D for a while, see the Virtual Boy and Famicom 3D system.
What I need to work on is appearing on camera. I'm very stilted and I'm really bad at looking at the camera. And that is even worse in the latest End of an Era episode, where I'm basically looking off screen the entire video. Good frame, by the way. I have a friend who's offering to perform camera work from now on, and I'm thinking with that, we're going to be able to make this work a lot better. End of an Era should be a little more of a consistent video series now.
But it seems with the 3DS, they had finally gotten it to work well enough to make it the full focus of a system. Again, the Virtual Boy didn't really happen, okay?
The system would make its first formal appearance at E3 2010, with a launch in early 2011. People at E3 were impressed with the visuals and increased power, but it wasn't an instant win. They revealed quite a few solid games, with Mario Kart 7, Ocarina of Time, and Star Fox 3D, and a new Animal Crossing being the headliners, but they weren't given dates or any concrete information. All we knew was that they existed. The system basically only had the 3D gimmick to sell. From E3 to launch, not a ton was revealed except for the price. At $249.99 US, many gamers opted to bulk hard, especially considering the lackluster launch lineup and lack of good software in the months after. As one would expect, the system launched to lackluster sales and reviews. People praised the 3D effect improved online and the backwards compatibility, but criticized the lack of quality software. Aside from Pilotwings Resort and maybe Nintendogs plus Cats, the system didn't have much to offer to potential buyers at all.
Here, it's a Nintendo 3DS.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play Asphalt 3D.
I am mouthing the things that he is saying in this shot, and I don't know why. This is Ribby, by the way. Everybody say hi to Ribby.
Here, it's a Nintendo 3DS.
I love this shitty little gag a lot. This was shot at the same time as Bad Ads 3, same day. And my favorite part about this video is the fact that I had not intended for everything to be on camera, realized it was, and said, I'm pulling the GameStop logo up over there and drawing it on the iPad at the same time. I love this shot. It's so funny. I don't think censoring bleeps is like... I think it's funny, but everybody does it now because Scott does it, so I'm just gonna say fuck it.
It shouldn't be a surprise that
Get
Nintendo
it?
slashed the price quickly in an attempt to save a system that seemed doomed for handheld.
I said the line.
After only 4 months on the market, the system's price was dropped from $250 to just $170. At that point, the system still didn't have a ton of hard-hitting titles. Ocarina of Time's 3D remake had come out a month prior to the price cut and was selling decently well, but aside from that, the summer lineup was lacking beyond belief. While the summer had games like Deus Ex, Human Revolution, Gears of War 3 on other consoles, Nintendo got Pac-Man and Galaga Dimensions and Deca Sports Extreme. Did you know there was another Deca Sports?
Very underrated little image I made for this.
Game after the Wii, I didn't. The software drought was real. However, not all was lost. Nintendo still had
I wonder what those games are.
that could change everything.
I wanted to do something clever here, couldn't figure out how to do it, so I just did
I'm
this.
sure you've all heard the tale of how Mario 3D Land and Mario
3D editing's
7
hard,
saved
man.
the 3DS
Fuck you.
from certain doom, but it's worth repeating. These two games releasing within a month of each other skyrocketed interest in the 3DS and led to a huge uptick in sales during the holiday season. 3D Land was a well-made Mario platformer, albeit nothing terribly special, and Mario Kart 7 was a good boost to the foundation laid by Wii.
So with this video, I wanted for the gameplay talking about games part, I wanted to use less of gameplay and more of marketing footage from the time. With Guitar Hero, I thought that it made more sense to just show gameplay because it was much more focused on the actual games than the history of the series, because it was kind of, here's how each game was in chronological order. With this video and how I plan to handle like hardware as opposed to a game series in this type of content type, the End of an Era series, is this what I like doing, is showing promotional material from the time to kind of show how it was seen during the time period I'm talking about.
Years prior. These games weren't
If that made
exactly
any
world on
sense,
fire,
cool.
But they were exactly what the 3DS needed. The system wasn't quite out of the running yet.
I'm also going to stop doing this weird fade thing. I think it looks bad.
Now 2012, and things were still going pretty well for the 3DS. However, Nintendo as a whole was experiencing their fair share of issues.
Back
Boy,
in
they sure were.
2011, the befuddling reveal of the Wii U took up a lot of the attention leading up to E3 2012. Not a ton came out for the 3DS, as it was clear Nintendo was prioritizing their new home console, which many saw as a sinking ship. The system's initial reveal was so bad that at E3 2012, Nintendo placed a large focus on clarifying some of the Wii U's features, effectively re-revealing it.
I'm going to say this now. I'm never doing End of an Era Wii U, not because I'm not interested in that topic, but because I think the Wii U has been covered to death by every other gaming YouTuber, and I'm just going to let that topic lie, because I don't think there's anything new I could add to the topic.
Maybe when you revealed the console in the first place, you should have done that. You know, just a thought. The Wii U was really the main focus for Nintendo in 2012, and their year-old handheld really didn't get a ton of love as a result.
Outside of a new console revision being a new XL-sized model like the DS.
This is ripped straight from Nintendo's YouTube channel, and for some reason, the game is running at half speed.
An awesome return of the series that we need
Bring
to see
it
on
back.
Switch consoles, please and thank you. New Super Mario Bros. 2, a not awesome return of a series, and Mario Tennis Open. Clearly, every developer at Nintendo was on deck trying to salvage the Wii U, but this video isn't about the Wii U, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up about it now.
No, you're not.
We're gonna skip ahead a bit to 2013, as that's when the 3DS really began to make itself a console worth owning.
Really proud of this segment in specific.
Any other options, as the Wii U had already cemented itself as a huge disappointment sales-wise at best. Therefore, Nintendo came out swinging with the 3DS's 2013 lineup.
Fire Emblem Awakening, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, the first 3D mainline Pokemon games, Mario Party Island Tour, and The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
I actually would like to point out something I just noticed. Oh. Wait. The fuck did I do here? I, have just noticed that. I meant to just get Pokemon Y's box art, because that was the version I had as a kid. And I noticed going through, it's like, hey, wait, there's an X in the background, so they had the different letters. No. The box art I grabbed merged the art. How did I not notice that? Well, I mean, it wasn't very obvious, because, I mean, X is barely there, but, like, wow, I didn't notice that at all. I kind of like that.
Mainline Pokemon games, Mario Party Island Tour, and The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds all came out this year. Fire Emblem saved its series from death. Luigi's Mansion
Fire Emblem Awakening is still the best Fire Emblem game, don't add.
Dark Moon did an admirable job following up the excellent GameCube original. Animal Crossing New Leaf pushed the series forward.
I wanted to put actual New Leaf footage here, but I just couldn't resist, I don't actually remember how he says it. All I know is I gotta get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS. That's all the time I've got. That's how he phrases it.
Anyways, and is still the best Animal Crossing game ever made, and I will not be accepting argument on that.
I still agree with that. New Horizons sucked balls. New Leaf is better.
Mario and Luigi Dream Team did its best to follow up Bowser's Inside Story, and I kind of like it.
I agree.
Pokemon X and Y ushered in a new and worse era.
I hate Pokemon, so I should stop talking about it. I'm like, I don't like Pokemon. Okay, I hate Pokemon is a very strong way of putting it. I just it didn't gel with me when I was young enough to be into it, so as a result, I'm not a giant Pokemon fan.
Mario and Luigi Y ushered in a new and worse era for Pokemon, and Mario Party Island Tour tried its hardest, and that's really all that matters in the end, isn't it? In my opinion, though, the most impactful release in 2013 was definitely A Link Between Worlds.
Love this game.
Nintendo had a lot of balls to try to follow up the second best Zelda game of all time, and to mine and many...
Number one is Majora's Mask, by the way. It goes, this game, it goes Majora's Mask, Link to the Past... If it had been me and May, I would have said Tears of the Kingdom. Right now, it's looking like number 3 is Wind Waker.
They managed it
I changed my list up a lot, except for Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask always number 1.
Weapons and items through dungeons, instead letting you buy them from a shop before even...
I should do a Zelda video at some point.
Combined with the expertly designed wall
I just have to find a topic that makes sense.
Way more intricate puzzle designs than ever before. It is still one of the best games you can get for the 3DS, and I highly recommend grabbing a copy.
If all of those huge games weren't enough, Nintendo also released yet another console revision this year, that being the Nintendo 2DS.
The 2DS was slated as the budget model for the system, with no folding or 3D effect included. Many people rightfully question this, but the 2DS really wasn't that bad. Nintendo sure seems to agree with me, because they kept making the damn...
I love the music I picked, dude.
Discontinued in 2020. Jesus Christ.
Moving on to 2014, Nintendo mainly focused on superbly smashing with the bros. I should really stop trying. with not a ton else coming out first party-wise.
The sequel to the Japan-only DS game Tomodachi Collection that is
Tomodachi Life is awesome. I should have talked about it a little bit more, but Tomodachi Life is great.
coming to the West is Tomodachi Life, alongside Kirby Triple Deluxe and Mario Golf World Tour. Third-party showings were pretty decent, though. I mean, if you're getting Shovel Knight, you really can't complain.
Another really underrated visual gag.
Obviously, the biggest game for 2014 was Smash for 3DS. The Smash series finally making its way to a handheld relatively unhindered was definitely a huge deal. This was actually my first Smash game I ever went out of my way to own.
First game I played was Brawl, but I never had it. Smash 4 is the first game I bought.
Man, what an introduction to the franchise this was. Smash 4 is honestly one of the best games of the entire generation, if you ask me, out of nostalgia and sheer impact alone. It being on a handheld helped a lot, but with the insane lineup of fighters, awesome game.
You know, it's funny, I showed this video to my friend when he watched it for the first time. He's like, wait, that's fucking Steve Harrington? Because this video came out like right after Stranger Things Season 4 came out. I'm not talking about Stranger Things in this video because I could actually go on for like way too long about how that series has gone to shit.
Gameplay and the buttload of marketing and hype surrounding it at launch in the years following.
I also had to use the horrible Amiibo short movie commercial when I was talking about Smash Bros. Because it's just so bad.
Any Nintendo fan worth their shit knew about and was probably playing Smash 4. Oh, and the DLC broke the internet. Cloud fucking
I actually would consider using the Etika reaction here, but I decided against it because I thought it was a little bit in poor taste.
Strife, man. Who saw that coming?
Rest in power, by the way. Rest in peace, rest in peace.
And then, it was 2015.
Oh yeah.
Just about any Nintendo fan remembers just how terrible this year was in terms of games, but...
Look at how clean my face is in this video compared to now. I mean, you look at my face on stream right now, and I got the stash, I'm kind of breaking out on my chin, and like, here I'm like a little clean-faced baby in comparison. This is really funny.
It wasn't all...
And this was only like a year ago.
PS launched in most of the world this year after Japan got it in late 2014, alongside the long-awaited 3D remake of Majora.
I don't know why I didn't put music at this part.
2015 had some really bad junk thrown onto the system.
Of course, there's the classic spit-in-the-face Chibi Robo Ziplash that...
Had to do it. I'll never know. We'll never know. I think the running consensus is it was a teaser for Dark Souls Remastered, because this came out right before or right after the mini direct. But Chibi Robo being like, this is the world's funniest toast of all time on the Nintendo Twitter. You can't tell me this isn't the greatest thing of all time.
The series, but Nintendo didn't hold off from releasing pure garbage in the form of Mario and Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, Pokemon
Nice picture.
World, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, and...
Actually, the reason I used this is because this is the only box art rip I could find. Considering this game was only physically released in Europe and Japan.
Donkey Kong Tipping Stars,
Maybe just
Pokemon
Europe.
World, Animal Crossing Happy Home...
That's a hot take, by the way. I say this wasn't that bad, and I still kind of agree with that, but wasn't that great either.
Home Designer and The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes.
Now that was boring as shit. Sorry, Four Swords solos it in every way. It's not like it's bad, but like, goddamn, that game had some wasted potential.
Just to name a few. 2015 really, really sucked. It doesn't help that, unfortunately, Nintendo President Satoru Iwata passed away really early in the year.
I found out about that from my mom, because they were talking about it on Today, the morning NBC show. And he was brought up there. My mom was like, hey, you know the president of Nintendo died? I was like, what? Yeah, it's them. I haven't watched a episode of Today in like fucking 10 years, but
The only
that
thing
was
kept
funny.
Nintendo fans hopeful for the future was the promise of the NX, but even that was still a few years out.
Which I think they
And
confirmed a
then
year.
2016!
Oh yeah.
Imagine if 2015 just happened again. Like, no real differences in software quality whatsoever. It just sort of happened again. That's pretty much what 2016 was.
2016 was like the worst year of all time to be a Nintendo fan. There's a lot of like new Nintendo fans. Like Switch was their first Nintendo. I'm gonna say it outright. A lot of people are way too vocal of the fact that they didn't live through 2016. So a lot of people bought a Switch and thus became really big Nintendo fans, and then turned 13 and went on Twitter. And that is the reason why Nintendo discourse has gone to shit. Because we as a society are drowning out the veterans like me, who lived through 2016 and hated every second of it, for the babies who think everything was the same and think that the Switch was just, it was always like this. Meaning that they're going to complain about the Switch for reasons that are both valid and invalid. There are valid points, and there are points I think aren't. I'm not going into this more than I have to because it's almost 1:30 and I want to go to bed. But there are certain things that I think are 100% valid to criticize Nintendo on, and then people complaining there aren't any Zelda games on the system. You just got one. You've been getting one like every year for the past entire legacy of the system. Meanwhile, it took us how long? I don't know, man. Zelda fans in specific are extremely insufferable because it's like, we haven't gotten a Zelda game in 6 months. Like, we just got Tears of the Kingdom. People are already asking for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess again, which I agree, those should be on Switch by now, but like, you just got the big sequel to Breath of the Wild. Shut up. I'm also a Metroid fan, so I'm allowed to complain about this kind of thing because I sat patiently and waited until Metroid Dread made me lose my mind live on camera.
Mario and Luigi Paper Jam.
That's the funniest thing that could have shown up right after that.
Fire Emblem Fates, I'll die on the hill that it sucked.
Some people like
Hyrule
Fates.
Warriors 10 FPS, I mean Legends. Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge, another series killer.
Last mini Mario / Mario vs. Donkey Kong game they ever made, by the way. It'll come back.
Metroid Prime Metroid Prime fucking
horseshit never should have been released. Absolutely so true.
Mario Party Star Rush, Pokemon Sun and Moon, they're responsible for killing my interest in any Pokemon game, and the absolutely baffling release of Super Mario Maker for 3DS. We did get the best Kirby game in Planet Robobot.
I don't know why I specified that when I still think Robobot is like a little bit better. They're both fantastic though.
This year, but man, there was nothing good released in 2016. Mario & Luigi Paper Jam was the last original game in the Mario & Luigi series, and it was a freaking horrible finish.
Rip Alpha
Mario
Dream!
Warriors was a joke on non-new 3DS systems. Metroid Prime Fuck You Force was Federation Force. There's not much else that needs to be said.
I think. I don't actually know if that's it. The final boss is Giant Samus, but I don't think that's Samus. I don't remember.
Mario Party Star Rush didn't need to exist. Pokemon Sumo was a cutscene disguised as a video game, and it somehow wasn't made by David in my game's All Women Are Whores Cage.
Fuck David Cage.
And Mario Maker 3DS was just unnecessary.
So true.
2016 was just an awful year for Nintendo fans overall.
My friend laughed at me for using this, the generic sad Smash Bros. Piano, but I love using it in videos because it's just the dumbest. Like, it fits the mood, but it's so dumb.
The Wii U rotted to death, and the NX reveal promise got dragged out to
Fucking October. Funny story about that. The day that they revealed it was the day that I went on a school field trip, so I was stuck wondering what was the NX. And when I got home, I went home and immediately watched the trailer and was like, oh my god. I think after that I watched a Game Explained discussion video because it was 2016.
I gotta admit, if the NX didn't get revealed as the Switch, I'd say it was easily the worst year the company has ever seen during its time as a gaming juggernaut.
I would probably
so
argue
the last
like
few years went for the 3DS. I'm sure
Yeah,
you're
I
probably
agree with that.
expecting 2017 to go exactly the same, but you would actually be wrong. Despite the
Fun fact, the reason there's a black screen there is because I meant to actually have camera footage there, and I recorded it on camera, but it was labeled as voiceover in the script. So it ended up being voiceover in the final video, and it was supposed to be on camera.
launch of the Switch early in the year, Nintendo took the 3DS and stocked its lineup hard, with quality levels not seen since 2013.
2017 was a really good year for the
Fire
3DS.
Emblem Echoes, Ever Oasis, a localization of RPG Maker Fest, Miitopia, Monster Hunter Stories, a good Metroid game, and Samus Returns, and a remake of the first Mario & Luigi headlined in 2017. It wasn't all rosy though, as we got That's Not Pikmin, Hey Pikmin, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon being even more
Is Pikmin 4 good? I haven't played it yet.
of a disappointment, and Mario Party the Top 100 being a mistake. Overall, though, it was genuinely impressive how many good games.
Oh, these shorts are adorable.
Also releasing insanely quality software for the Switch at the exact same time. Many of these games would have been fantastic on the Switch too, but none of them really felt out of place. Well, except for Fire Emblem Warriors. Do you remember Fire Emblem Warriors? Do you remember that it came
I had to search so hard for a headline that matched my opinions on Fire Emblem Warriors. Most people were like, damn, this game is pretty okay.
into the 3DS? Yeah, me neither. Oh, and they shoved out another 3DS revision, the new Nintendo 2DS XL. It was a 2DS with a newer processor, and it folds now. Wow!
Always makes me laugh. Just the wow with the damn picture. It always gets me. It's one of my favorite gags. Yeah, for a time I actually wanted to get rid of my, where is it? new 3DS XL, I was gonna upgrade to a 2DS, but I decided against it because fucking duh. I was curious what I was playing. Ocarina of Time.
2018 was, in my opinion, the last time Nintendo really showed any effort towards the 3DS.
A localization of the previously Japan-only adventure
Sequel looks like shit, by the way.
game Detective Pikachu, a port of Sushi Striker, a port of
Yep.
Captain Toad from the Wii U, WarioWare Gold, and a remake of the first Luigi's Mansion headline this year. Some of these games felt really out of place on the system, though.
Wow!
This was meant to be like a cutaway gag, but it was really not that good. I had to stop filming for like 12 minutes after this because parents and something was going on downstairs. I don't remember what it was, but they were making a lot of noise, so I couldn't finish the film. And the 3DS has been off. It's been up there, but it's been off the entirety of the video. I'll cut to the last on-camera segment beforehand. See, the light's off. And it's on now, because I forgot to turn the system off.
Fans' consensus was clear. The 3DS wasn't exactly what people wanted to play games on anymore. And with the smashing success of the Switch, it's clear why the software lineup wound down after 2018. Games still released for the system in 2019, mainly a remake of Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
For some reason.
Ever make,
RIP.
and Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, but clearly Nintendo had fully shifted.
I always forget that Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn came out.
Perhaps rightfully so. The new 2DS, new 3DS, and original 2DS will continue to be produced until mid-2020, when it was.
They're the specified new 3DS XL.
And this brings us to 2022, where randomly one night on Twitter, it was over. On February 15th, Nintendo announced their plans to close the 3DS and Wii U eShops in 2023.
This was the catalyst that got me making this video in the first place, was their announcement of the eShop closing. Which has been a hell of a time, I'll say that. I recorded its last moments, and if I ever need them in a video, I'll use them. But yeah, the 3DS eShop closure was really interesting to me, because of how utterly horribly they handled it.
This was obviously going to happen at some point in time, but I don't think any of us expected it this soon. Nintendo was more than happy to take a jab at fans voicing concern over the lack of Virtual Console, though.
Why the fuck did they say this? What was the benefit of them acting all passive-aggressive? They're like, oh, well, you know, why are you, like, preserving your classic games, making them available for purchase? Like, why did they phrase it like this? When they don't answer the questions they listed, it's like they're just being fucking horrible for the sake of it. I didn't get it. I still don't.
Yes, Nintendo. That's right. When the customer disagrees
Hate
with
this
your current
part.
business model, phrase it like a taunt and show that you actually don't give a shit. I'm sure that'll go over fantastically well. And oh boy, it did not. I know this is fairly off topic from this video, but it's worth mentioning how provocative and
No, it's
diminishing
not.
this was worded. Nobody bought their bullshit, and Nintendo ended up deleting this from their announcement post on the support website. And now, it's time for a dramatic slideshow of reactions, because I'm never gonna get another opportunity to do this.
I'm like the only person in most of these screenshots, but I wanted to show like people's reactions because I thought that they were really funny. Hi, Scott. And they went on Twitter because some people on Twitter were being really funny about it. Yeah, this was very interesting. The Xbox 360 store is still 100% online. Nothing 360-wise has been discontinued save for, I mean, the Halo games, but most of the 360 infrastructure is still 100% online. PS3, they nearly shut down, but they're back online, and they're probably going to stay online until Jim Ryan decides to be a dick. And the Vita is still online. The PSP, I think, is fully dead, though. It's just funny to me that systems that are, like, a solid, like, 5 years older than the 3DS have storefronts that are still online, while Nintendo took it down a year after discontinuing the console. It's weird.
Whew, yeah.
Nice jeans.
That was refreshing.
filmed in
The
whenever I
closure of
filmed
the
this.
3DS and Wii U eShop means the death of Virtual Console, and with it, hundreds of games unplayable anywhere else. I don't normally advocate for piracy if it's reasonably possible to obtain
I'm pretty much always advocating for piracy.
the game legally, but in this case, Nintendo's laid their cards firmly out on the table. They don't give two shits about leaving their back catalog available for you, so pirate it. Nintendo won't give you a better solution for current consoles. You can't get hundreds of 3DS or Wii U games legally, period, after 2023.
Hi, it's
There's tons of
2023.
Virtual console games that are prohibitively expensive now.
You're right.
Buy an original copy. If Nintendo doesn't want you to play them through legal methods, you really can play them through illegal ones.
I just fucked the line read.
Obviously, you should buy your games whenever possible. But when it's a toss-up between a serious Murasame Castle requiring a full Famicom disk system setup to play on original hardware, or a digital release on the 3DS that you'll never be allowed to play legally again in a year, I think your choices are fairly clear.
I spit straight facts there. I have no comment. I agree 100%. Pirate Nintendo games. It's okay. The Nintendo Creators Program's not a thing anymore, so they can't get mad at me for that. I think.
Let's go over my personal history with the 3DS as a console. I got a red 3DS in Christmas of 20...
No, this isn't the same 3DS, but I have a red 3DS again. This is Robbie's. Thanks, Robbie.
2011 and played it to death.
This is something I want to do more in End of an Era videos, is talk about my history with the system and the thing in question. I don't do it in Guitar Hero, but that was just because Guitar Hero is way more of a video essay more than anything. Like, it doesn't really have a personal aspect to it. It's just me talking about the series.
Dogs plus Cats, Super Mario 3D Land, and a bunch of eShop titles. And then I lost it at a Friendlies and never saw it again in like 20...
Remember fucking Friendlies? It's probably showing my northerner, because I don't think these things are a thing anywhere except for, like, the New England area and maybe, like, around that. But, dude, this place was the bomb. They had, like, ice cream. I sound stoned beyond belief. Holy shit.
Nice.
Yo, this place is, like, the bomb. They have ice cream.
That's me.
About a year after that debacle, I got
What
a
are you
blue
pointing
3DS
at?
XL. That system was great too.
I got tons of Virtual Console games, Mario Kart 7 and Animal Crossing, before breaking that system's touchscreen and effectively rendering it useless. I suffered with a touchscreen that constantly tapped in the top right corner until my parents relented and got me an aqua blue original 3DS as a replacement downgrade.
This is actually something fuzzy. I don't remember the exact time period here. I want to say that the Aqua Blue 3DS I got before the 3DS XL, but I also might have gotten it after. Also, I broke the touchscreen by water damage. It was left in a bag with a wet bathing suit, and water got under the digitizer and fucked it up.
That Christmas. I mostly used that system for Pushmo and Mario Kart before losing it as well. Can you tell I didn't take very good care of my things as a kid?
I did not take very good care of my things as a kid. I found that Aqua Blue 3DS, actually. And when I found it, it was a homebrew slave console for a bit. Until yikes.jpg. I'm gonna see if I can, yeah. So that system met a fate when it reached a point of it being too far gone to be usable for me, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like destroying a piece of technology today. So this is what happened to the Blue 3DS. I'm sorry, I think, is what I should be saying. But yeah, this system kind of didn't really make it out alive. The cartridge port was dead, the shoulder buttons were dead, it was basically just a console on death row. So I decided I'd put it out of its misery. I'm sorry, God.
I got a 2DS in Christmas of 2015 after begging my parents for one the entire year prior. And
True, I didn't shut up about it until they finally got me one, and when they got me one, I stopped caring. I was like, I don't actually want this anymore when I got it, but I still love that thing.
my brother got a new 3DS XL. I used that 2DS for the longest time, and there's video
It's Whipped Cream Gamer, everybody.
footage. I played Smash 3DS to death on that thing, alongside tons of Pokemon, Animal Crossing, and Majora's
Must have.
I eventually was given my...
Yeah, my current 3DS is a new 3DS XL that I unceremoniously stole from my brother. I traded another 3DS, I think, that he ended up trashing. And at this point, he obviously doesn't care, so it has been my 3DS for the past, 5 years.
brother's new 3DS XL.
Should have tried harder.
3DS ever since. I've got more nostalgia for the 3DS than any other system I've ever owned.
Like I said, stealing is a very mean way of putting it, considering he still had a 3DS at the end of it. We just switched. I swear to God, I'm not an asshole.
I had a 3DS for basically my entire time as an adolescent and never stopped playing it throughout. Even when I got a Switch, I still kept booting up the old 3DS every once in a while, just for fun.
Jesus
Sure,
Christ, the thing's on right now.
Ended up hacking the thing, which I highly recommend you do.
Still do.
But still, I played tons of stuff on these systems. It's how I was introduced to tons of my favorite game series too. Zelda, Metroid, Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, the list goes on. The 3DS is easily one of the best consoles Nintendo has ever produced, and is in my opinion truly iconic. Aside from the Switch Lite, which can be argued as a dedicated handheld, I would more define it as a 2DS to the Switch, and not an entirely new platform.
Yeah,
Nintendo has never
I wrote
attempted
that.
a portable-only system since the 3DS. Obviously, this is because of the Switch, a console that...
This song is getting me choked up, dude.
Both a TV-focused and handheld-focused experience.
Outdoors at 7 p.m. Smash Bros. Remix, by the way, if you're wondering, is the name of the song. It is so nostalgic.
Objectively the best way to handle a system, if you ask me. This cements the Nintendo 3DS, the final pillar of Nintendo's most successful market by far, as the end of an era.
I open it just to close it again.
Thanks for watching, and feel free to let me know what you might want to see me cover next.
So, that is every video up to the latest one, of which I don't have much to comment on, other than I kind of wish I'd tried a little harder with it. Thank you so much for sitting through 3 hours of this bullshit. I just kind of wanted to do this. Thank you for 300 subscribers. That's pretty poggers, I will say. I guess if you're here right now, I'll give you a little bit of an inside look at the next couple of videos I have planned. At this point, I think I'm going to commit. And the next End of an Era episode is most likely going to be on the Game Boy line of systems, just because I think that those are another suited End of an Era topic. And that's the next big video I'm planning on working on. There's a couple other ideas peppered in there, and there will probably be a couple of miniature, like, skit-type videos I will film as well, similar to Sega Genesis, Portable, and Bad Ads 3. Yeah, I've got plans for the channel still. We're not done yet. I really appreciate you guys keeping your support and just sticking around for the past, we're nearing 3 years in October, so... Let's hope we can keep it strong. I haven't really decided on if I want to do another Whipped Cream Gamer thing, because the 10th anniversary of that's actually coming up in a couple of years, but yeah, we'll see where we are when we're there. But yeah, very much appreciate everybody for sticking around, chilling, watching some old videos. Very much appreciate y'all who are active in chat. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's support for the past 3-something years, and 300 subscribers. Here's to hoping that maybe we hit 1,000 subscribers before Social Blade's predicted year of 2035.